I'm a fan, bro. I'm a fan of you. Watched your career for a very long time. So
I know, but there's so many riders.
There's only one Marvin Musquin, though.
That's true. That's true.
Marvin Musquin wins $1 million at the Monster Energy Cup.
I'm winning a world championship race, and I'm not getting bonuses out of it.
What was your sign-on for the team?
Well, I had zero either. No salary.
Did you win a Motocross of Nations in France?
In Ernée, yeah. I keep saying that's the best race of my life. I was bottling Justin, and I'm like, and the crowd's going wild, and there was one section I couldn't even hear the bike, and I felt like nothing could happen to me. Definitely Jason, I mean, he talked about it here, not liking training with the competition.
And I maybe went about this kind of like an asshole, but I was like, I ain't f***ing riding with him.
Dude, Aldon hated it. Hated it because he had to take care of all that.
This episode of the podcast is brought to you by AG1. I want to give a big personal thank you for their help in getting me to the start line at Glen Helen for the World Vets. It was a real bucket list thing for me, and I spent all of 2023 training for it. I may have skipped a couple of runs and had a few off days at the track, but one thing I didn't skip all year was a morning started with AG1. Consistency is everything in health and fitness, and one scoop of AG1 with water first thing in the morning, every morning, played a massive role in getting me on the start line. I feel more energized, I have better digestion, and I have a higher sense of general well-being as a result. That's because every scoop includes things such as B vitamins for energy support, probiotics for gut support, and vitamin C and zinc for immune support. And while all of these attributes make AG1 a real no-brainer, you can try it and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/gypsytales and keep an eye out for our World Vets content dropping here on our YouTube channel soon.
I met a gypsy.
So, do you have everything in your head, or you took notes?
Nah, everything's in my head.
Damn, that's impressive.
I'm a fan, bro. I'm a fan of you. Like I've watched your career for a very long time. So
I know, but there's so many riders.
I know.
So many races.
There's only
so
one
many
Marvin
stories.
Musquin, though.
That's true. That's true.
So we'll just start the podcast with a shout out to LebigUSA. Why not? What a good dude, eh?
Yep. Yeah, he's smart. He's smart.
Yeah, he's killing it too. He does a lot of good stuff. It's cool to bring the French audience and the French crowd. Not a lot of French people speak good English. It's one of those, I guess, countries that are very prideful in their language, and they speak their language. So it's cool that he's actually a guy that can like bring along a bunch of the French fans.
Yeah, for sure. It's huge. I mean, he's been in America for over 20 years now, so he knows a little bit about the country and their bikes. So it's great for the French fans.
So we were just talking a little bit before. We've known each other for a really long time. We haven't like hung out a bunch, but man, you've always been one of the nicest people in this sport, and it's cool. We finally get to actually sit and have a chat, and I feel like you're in a bit of a resurgence at the moment. Like you're doing a bunch of races, you're running the 2-stroke. Like there's a lot of people that are still pumped on Marv right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big transition when you stop racing. Obviously, I never thought I would stop racing one day. You know, I mean, when you're like early in your 20s, and I got the chance, obviously, to move to America. Like it was my dream, and then you race year after year, and you never think about when you get about like 30 or 31, 32 years old, and one day stop racing, and here we are. Unfortunately, but it is what it is. This is life, and but I'm really happy right now.
Yeah, I mean, you had an amazing career, like a crazy, crazy good career, and I think that you're one of the guys that there's been so many great French riders as well, and I think to be in like the upper echelon of French riders that's quite a hard feat. But you're one of the guys that came over, adapted really well to Supercross, also did really well in outdoors. You were Motocross of Nations, great rides your entire career. You never kind of had to go through like the roller coaster of dealing with, bad rides and trying to get yourself back to the top. Like, so I think as far as careers go, it was an insanely good career, but maybe unexpected to end when it did, in a sense.
I mean, yeah. Now that I'm done and I look back at it, it is pretty cool to see all the results, all the wins. Of course, we can always look back at, I never won a 450 championship. I came really close, either Supercross or motocross. But man, at the end, like, just by winning one race in America was already like a goal. Then I moved up to 450 and winning a Supercross race, like main event, was just my ultimate dream and goal. But then when you achieve that, then you want more, and then you want to win a championship. And unfortunately, I never done it. But it's been good. It's now, looking back at it, I'm really proud.
Yeah. So what are you doing with yourself these days, like in a formal capacity? Like, obviously still working with Red Bull KTM.
Yeah, I'm just naturally, I want to stay with the brand. There's nothing really script or like, oh, you have to do this or that. It's my goal to be with the brand. So naturally, I want to ride KTMs, and they have a lot of bikes. So I'm lucky. I can ride like an electric free ride. I can ride enduro bike, whatever I want. So it's new right now for me in my situation to do a little bit whatever I want. So yeah, I'm learning that. Definitely not. I'm pretty busy. I'm not bored. I have my daughter too. So for 15 years, I used to wake up and do my stretching, do my cardio, go to the track, and it was the same thing over and over, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But now I wake up and then I go and pick up my daughter off bed, and play with her and feed her and stuff. So it's so different, but now I also get to go still to the track because I love it. I love coaching. I've been helping Tom Vialle.
He's having a cracker of a season.
So it's awesome to see that, and I'm willing to help some young kids. And with KTM, they have Orange Brigade and some kids that race the future. They race the combine. So hopefully we can try and do some good work with that and help some young kids make it to the pros.
Yeah. Oh, it's awesome, man. So how was Day in the Dirt down south? That was your first Day in the Dirt?
Yeah, well, Day in the Dirt, I wanted to do it actually a couple years ago, and my mechanic Frankie was like, you're in the middle of a championship right now. Like, that's not good. Do a fun race. Let's focus on training. But now that I don't race anymore, I'm like, dude, it's time to do it. Brought my family there. I had some friends over there too. So with the help of Red Bull, they actually drove my 250 two-stroke there, all the way from California to Florida. So with Mario, Mario from Red Bull.
Yeah.
So that was awesome. I put some stuff together and I was there. I should have hired a mechanic there, but
really?
I worked on my home bike. Work is a big word right now. I put gas and maybe some grease on the chain. That's about it.
Oh, that's so good. What do you enjoy the vibe down there though?
Yeah, Day in the Dirt. I almost did it last year in Glen Helen, but I didn't.
Dude, it was so
last
fun.
minute. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'll do it at Glen Helen this year. Yeah.
I saw you've been running the two-stroke, and I was out at Kahir Creek a couple of weeks ago. I think I saw you at Parlour on like the Monday. And then Kahir Creek, you were there on Wednesday. And I'm just like, Marv is just living the two-stroke dream right now. You're on the vet track too, just like fully sending it around.
So the story behind the two-stroke is 2 years ago. Yeah, about 2 years ago now. Oh, yeah, a year and a half. So DV was my full-time trainer. Yeah. And he's like, dude, you need to get a bike. Like, if it rains, you can't ride Supercross. You need another bike to go out in the hills or like a sand track. And he says, anything you want but a 450. I'm like, okay, let me think about it. And I'm like, let me get a 250 two-stroke. So that's what I got from KTM. And after that, I'm like, I want to get my own. So that's what I got, and made it pretty cool. Looking just like my Red Bull Straight Rhythm kit, I would say. That's the throwback of 2010 when I used to race GPs. So I enjoy that. Because the look of the bike is so different than what we're used to. So, yeah. But it's a lot of work when it's your own bike. I'm not used to that. I'm used to have Frankie working on my bike every time. So
do you like the mechanical side of it now? Or is it just too much of a, like it's just a hassle?
I think I'm afraid to do too much on the bike.
Yeah.
I can take stuff off the bike, that's easy. But put it back together, it's different. But I'm lucky to still have Frankie, part of obviously the team, Red Bull KTM. So I kind of feel bad bothering him, but he enjoys working on bikes because he misses a little bit. Changing tires or do stuff like that, that's what helped me.
I don't do the tire changes.
No, me neither, dude. I never done it my whole life. There was either my dad when I grew up, or a mechanic because I was been a factory mechanic. Luckily,
yeah. My dad made me change a tire one of the last trips I was home, and he just filmed me struggle, and it was so hot, dude. And I'm just like beading sweat, and I'm like, this is so ridiculous. And I've got I'm actually building my 2-stroke tomorrow. Okay. I'm doing a YZ250 build against Brian Deegan.
Do you have good tools or?
I actually bought a bunch of tools. So we did I
think if you don't, then if you're not a good mechanic and you don't have good tools, then you're screwed.
The good tools makes the biggest difference in the world. Like we did a thing with Motorsport this year, so they're one of our sponsors, and so we got like a budget for this bike build, and the first thing I did was just buy every tool. I was like, I'm getting all of the good shit, like all the Motion Pro T-bars that spin and like all the little special.
And you enjoy it.
It makes it so much more fun.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than working on a bike with shit tools.
That's awesome.
But yeah, the 2-stroke thing. Did you race 2-strokes much as a kid? Because you probably were in the generation of mini bike 2-strokes, and then 85s obviously. Did you race 125s or go straight?
I did 125s. Actually, when I raced 85, I would also ride a 125, the same year. I would do Supercross on 125s. And then the following year, I raced outdoors. The junior class in France is only 125 2-strokes. Yeah. And then I would go on the 250 2-stroke to race Supercross. Okay. So pretty much when I was a kid, I would always have like 2 bikes, like 2 different classes bikes. So I think that helped me too. I adjust to a different bike and adjust your technique and that helped me. So, and I started also Supercross super early, but only 1 year I raced 125s.
Yeah, okay. Supercross on a 2-stroke is a whole different thing, eh?
Yeah, I mean, when I was like so little and it was like the beginning, I didn't realize that. I mean, I was fine with it. But now, like for example, last year or 2 years ago, I raced Red Bull Straight Rhythm on the 250 2-stroke, and obviously I had to ride it on the real Supercross track
to train for it.
Yeah, before we did maybe like 2 days on it.
Yeah, and you were like, dude,
scary.
Yeah.
I got on the track, no engine brake, and just the power. It's so different than what I'm used to on the 450. And I was like, what is that? Like what I'm gonna do like a straight rhythm. And it took me a few laps to adjust to the bike, and it was scary at first, honestly.
Yeah, you have to have a lot of respect for guys like Ricky, Chad, James. I mean, imagine James racing the 252 stroke against all the 450s for a time too.
Yeah, like the RPM has to be perfect every time for whatever you want to do, But it was fun. At the end, we went to Red Bull Straight Rhythm, and I had a great time. It was a little sketchy. Like I really had to be careful in some areas of the track, the straightaway. Yeah. But I loved it, and I won again. So
yeah, you are the king of straight rhythm. It's so evident. Like I feel like straight rhythm is such a beautiful display of your technique. Mm-hmm. Like you've got maybe not so much of like the changing direction scrubbing. Like obviously you do that as well.
Yeah.
But I think that event for you is one purely in your just straight up and down, just soaking and working the bike and just getting it back to the ground. And that right there, like all you need to do is watch that event to find why you were so successful at Supercross.
Yeah, and mentally it's really hard too, because obviously you want to go fast, but if you mess up, you come up short or too long on the jump, then you can't keep going. You know what I'm saying? So obviously you learn the course, and it's at first it's like, man, it's gonna be hard to remember like half a mile or something of jumps, but the fact that they in between rhythm sections they have like a speed check, they call it, you know, like those scrub wall jumps. So you kind of like reset a little bit in your mind, and when you go over that, you're like, okay, after that there's a whoop section or whatever it is, you know. So there's 2 of them like that on the course. But yeah, when you're on the gate, first of all, you're like almost like in the cage, you know.
Yeah.
That is really, really cool. Like whatever like they did with that, it's awesome. So you by yourself behind the gate, but you know the other guy is like on the other side and you can't see him. But then when you go off the gate and off that cage, then boom, you're like next to the guy and you can see it. And you do that drop off. But mentally, you get so excited and nervous, really, really. Because, you know, the guy's next to you, you can hear his bike. You can see, obviously, if he's in front of you, you can see him. But if he's behind you, you know.
You can't see anything.
But you know he's like right there.
Yeah.
And you side by side. It's such a good race. And yeah, I never, ever lost a round. Like, never. Every time I done it,
it's insane.
Never ever lost a run. Yeah. So that is really cool.
Yeah, and your technique was just fully on display. Like it's, I guess that stuff gets lost in a Supercross track because there's turns and then there's all the different obstacles and there's like guys coming into your lane and the adjustments. But in the straight rhythm, you could just see the precision, just extreme precision that you would have, and like the way that you wouldn't have to, like the time wasn't made scrubbing side to side. It was just this up, down,
you got to be careful.
You
got to be careful because if you cross the line in the middle, then you disqualify. Then you lose the run. But the straight rhythm, what you saying about pushing down and scrubbing, all that stuff, it really translates to Supercross. I mean, yes, there's turns, but you have to do that anywhere you can on the Supercross track. Like you have to push through the jumps, big triples, push the bike down and get to the ground as quick as you need to, and it translates really good to Supercross for sure.
Where did you think you learned that technique?
Dude, I started riding Supercross. I was 10 years old.
Really?
On the 65, and obviously that was my dad's idea. We never really talked about it, but he probably thought, hey, we need to build a safe Supercross track, but at least learn how to do it. And that really helped me, you know. And then I grew up, 85, 125. I would ride my brother's bike, 250 or whatever, when I was so little, and that really helped me. So, and when we were growing up, me and my brother, I was going to the track, and we didn't have like a riding program. I mean, are you serious? Like at 10, 11, 12, we would just do whatever we wanted to.
Yeah.
And that really helped us, because obviously it was good because we wanted to ride. It's not like it was forced, you know. After school, I remember my brother and my dad, they were already at the track. My mom would drive me straight from the school to the track. Like my dad already had my gear bag and my bike, everything ready. So we would drive straight there, have a little snack in the car, and get on the bike and ride until it gets dark, right? So, and me and my brother, we would do the track backwards, do transfer, whatever we wanted.
Just burn gas all day.
Yeah, burn gas, but do things that felt good and it was fun.
Yeah.
So, and that helps you ride a dirt bike.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my thinking.
And what was your dad's involvement in the sport?
He was a rider. I mean, not at a top level, but
he just loved it.
Regional, like in France.
Yeah.
Loved it. He actually, his dad never wanted him to have a bike. So he basically did it on his own, basically like work and got money and bought a bike. But it was against his parents. But all he wanted is to ride the dirt bike. So as soon as I'm born, my brother was already on the dirt bike. So I just jump on one right away. I'm basically born on a motorcycle and at the track.
It's funny that I was similar in a sense when I was a kid, that like my dad raced and he loved bikes, but then he had like a pretty bad injury. So then I had a bike when I was a kid, and then I got a real bad injury, and mum was like, "No, that's it, you're done. Like it's over." And that not being able to have a bike is like the reason I'm here today, because it just made me love it and want it so bad. So your dad was probably in that same boat where it's like he wasn't allowed a bike and he had to save and wasn't given to him, and it was just like this thing that he was fixated on and wanted so bad, and then as soon as he got it, it was just like laid out forever, you know, like that. I really feel like that builds such a passion in people.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly it. My dad, I think he still has his very first bike.
Really?
Like he would never get over it. Dang, I don't remember. I think I had the name of the brand, but
it was like a Mako or something, or
no,
like one of those.
It was more like a street bike though. Not a motocross bike.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, I'll try to look for it. And also my very first, it was my brother's bike, but my very first bike was Honda QR.
Yep.
So
QR50.
we still have it at the house.
No way.
Like my dad would not get rid of stuff like that. That means a lot. So
that's so cool.
Yeah.
And he was a Supercross fan his whole life. Like he watched all the races, or was he like MotoGP, or what was he?
Motocross. Motocross. And I think he went to Bercy Supercross. So it was the era of Jean-Michel Bell or Stanton.
Yeah.
Guys like that. So he was a big Honda fan.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what I was going to say next, is that France has a crazy history of great champions in the sport, and we know them because we're on the inside of the sport. Jean-Michel Bell, Michel Pichon, like there's so many great French riders, and you know, David Villeman, like there's so many guys that have done so well from France. Is it mainstream at all? Like, do people, just the average French person, know the legend of Jean-Michel Bell, and is that why French people love motocross the way they do? Or
I mean, you really had to be a big fan of motocross to know those guys. GV, Pichon, Tortelli, all that.
Dude, Tortelli, I didn't even mention
Oh,
Tortelli.
dude.
The man.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No, it was, I mean, you had magazines back in the day, but that's about it. Maybe a little bit on TV, but nothing big enough to make them big stars, you know, over in the country. But yeah, I mean, JMB was more. I mean, the most famous guy. And also because he went to MotoGP, though, then he made it obviously to the
mainstream.
Stream TV, stuff like that. So he got more famous than other guys for sure.
Yeah, man, France is an incredible place for sport. Like, I don't know what it is about the French, but man, like I went to Le Mans MotoGP, and it was the first race after COVID. And I think it broke the French sporting attendance record.
Really?
There was like 500,000 people over 3 days or the 2 days or whatever it was. It was the craziest shit I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah,
like,
I never been to Le Mans, but
dude,
my best friend went last year for the first time.
Yeah,
he said he wanted to like experience the whole thing, so he got
he camped and everything. Oh, bro.
He said, dude, I would never do that again. He said, I didn't sleep for 3 days.
No,
so,
dude, no.
So next year, if he goes next year, he goes to a hotel.
Yeah, well, I was saying before, we stayed in Paris because I was not going to go to France and not stay in Paris. Like, I was not going to go stay in Le Mans. I was like, I want to be in Paris. I want to eat the food. I want to go and walk the streets. Like, that. I want that experience. Right. And I also want to go to MotoGP.
Yeah, that's the way to go.
We drove every day. It was like an hour and a half each way.
Yeah.
But man, Jack and all the boys, they sleep at the track. They got the motorhomes, and they're just like, dude, we can't fucking sleep. Like, none of us have slept at all because I don't know if you know, but they literally, or your friend told you, but they literally get car engines, bro.
Yeah.
And they bury them in the ground, and then they resurrect these engines, put oil and coolant and fans and the whole deal, and just key bang for 3 days, dude.
Yeah.
It is unbelievable.
I've seen Fabio Quantararo.
Yeah.
I know him pretty good. So he would send me videos like in the middle of the night. Like he would open the door of his camper and just do a video.
And then,
I said, dude, it's crazy. I can't sleep.
Yeah.
And he has to race. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, gnarly. So, like I said, I've never been to Le Mans, but I've done Motocross of Nations.
Same vibe.
Yeah, in France.
Yeah.
But last year, I wanted to go anyway. I wanted to go. I'm not racing, but I want to go. And Saturday night, I took a friend to the camping just to show him how gnarly it was. And I never really experimented the whole thing. And guys would like create like a pit bike race in the middle of the people. They would bring a ramp and they would move the ramp around the camping, put it there, and then do the jump. Like the people would do like an alley.
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, it was unreal.
What is it about the French?
I don't know. My friend said the French have issues. I'm like, no, they're just happy, happy to be alive. I don't know. I don't know how to say it, but
dude, it's a vibe.
Yeah,
there's a thing. But I mean, I think just Europe in general. I mean, American fans are crazy. Like you go to an outdoor national, like a Red Bud or something, and it's full on. But it's
different, a little different.
Nothing in comparison. And it's just Europeans are on some shit. It's a different way of doing things, and it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I know it is. Yep.
But I could not believe the level at which they were sending it at Le Mans. But like even, driving out of the place, like just it went forever. Like just the campgrounds, and people were there for like weeks doing it. And
Motocross of Nations in Ernée is really, really cool.
Did you win a Motocross of Nations in France?
In Ernée, yeah.
So you won
15.
that, Ernée? God,
yeah.
How wild was that?
Yeah, I mean, I keep saying that's the best race of my life.
Really?
Like, I mean, the whole weekend, the whole thing. Like, we could not. I don't think how I could make it better. Obviously, coming off a Supercross championship that year, I lost the outdoors. I got second, but then you go to Motocross of Nations. You have number 1, 2, 3 because they won the year before. You get to France for the race, so the people are so excited already. There's a lot of people. The track is awesome. The way it's built in the hill, and on the other side of the hill is the fans, so they can see everything. And we won. I mean, I almost won a moto on my 250. Remember against Barcia?
Yes.
That battle?
Yeah.
And dude, I was racing and I was battling Justin, and I'm like, and the crowd is going wild, and there was one section I couldn't even hear the bike. I was just like this and waiting for it. You know what I'm saying? Like wide open. And I felt like nothing could happen to me. Nothing. It's so weird to say that, but I was riding like wide open everywhere on the 250. That was my very last race on 250, so I was comfortable until I crashed. Until I caught an edge over a wall jam. I caught an edge and I high-sided and I crashed. And I kind of like woke up, kind of like,
oh
shit,
real.
This is real. Like,
yeah.
Damn it! Like I was second behind Justin, and I was battling, and man, I could have won a moto on Motocross of Nations on 250. That would have been unreal. I still got maybe 5th, and then the second moto I got 3rd, so I won the overall on 250. So it was a win. It was a win, and we won the overall. The crowd, at the end they got on the track and on the starting line. You know how the starting line is?
Yeah.
Then you have the podium. They do it good in GPs over there. The podium, really, really nice. And I remember sitting on the podium, and obviously Mathilde was there right after the podium, and just looking at the crowd. And I have chills. I'm like, just enjoy that moment because it would never happen again, right? I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. It might not happen again for
that's
sure.
not promised.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
You should for sure soak that in while you can.
Yeah. I was like, damn it. I have a ton of pictures. It's unreal. So yeah, the best race of my life.
And what was it like after that? I mean, how do you even get out of the track with the fan? You know, like
no, we stayed at the track. I mean, we left probably like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. We had a good time with the whole federation. Obviously, my family, my friends, because a lot of my close friends showed up for sure for the weekend. Because when you're from another country and you race in America, you don't see your friends, or it's hard. I mean, they come here and there, but not often. And when I get to race a race like that, yes, I used to race Paris Supercross or like Geneva, and we had to have a good time. But like Motocross of Nations in France, they for sure they show up, and with my family, and we had a good time. I'm not a guy that just like party and like drink and you know what I'm saying, like celebrate like that. I just really like to have a good time. Yeah, a good dinner or whatever. I don't really like alcohol, but we did go to that after party, It was some riders, they were like very, very drunk. Especially Motocross of Nations is the very last race of the season.
Nothing else, yeah.
Yeah. They definitely go wild at the end of the season.
Who was on your team that year?
Romain Febvre.
Yeah.
And Gauthier Paulin.
A great team.
Yeah.
What a team.
Yeah. I mean, Romain, he won a few times, and Gauthier, he won a few times too. So yeah, it was great.
Man, that would have just been such a cool experience.
Mm-hmm.
Like to win on home soil, and to win the overall.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how to equal that or make it better. I don't know. I know I won in America outdoors Supercross. That was my dream. But it's just the atmosphere, the feeling when I was riding, the fans cheering me on. It was just unreal. So I remember last year, Tom Vialle, so I was with him at Outdoors, and he was like, man, I don't know if I'm going to race Motocross of Nations. There's SMX round, then Motocross of Nations. It's a lot, right? And I'll only have maybe 2 weeks of rest after the season. So if I race Motocross of Nations, it would be too much. I said, dude, you have to. It's in France. Like, it might not happen again. So just go. And obviously he did. He got selected because he was one of the best 250 guys and won championships over in Europe. So he got selected, and he won. He won the 250 class, and he rode super good. And I saw myself, in him. So and the way he rode, like, that was his best race off the season. Yeah. Period. So that tells you how much the crowd and the vibes, the atmosphere, just I don't want to say it changed a rider, but it really bring the best of the rider for sure.
Man, you're a good friend for saying that to him. You're a good friend for saying that to him.
Dude. I mean,
go, like you can speak from experience. Like, hey, no, you have to do this.
Yeah,
Like,
I told him. I said, dude, I'll be so bummed if you don't. Yeah. And I was with Tom at the races. We just started in some ways working together, but it was more like helping him at the races. For a first year racing outdoors, it's not easy. So yeah, it was new. At Motocross of Nations, I was there, but not really there for him. But he did it, so it was great.
That's so cool. And I think too, it probably adds a little bit more to your national pride in a sense when you do live in another country, because you get an opportunity to understand what you're missing about France. If you just live in France and you stay there your whole life, like obviously you would have traveled, let's say you stay in the GPs, like you're traveling, you're living in different places. But I think to go to such a different country like America and to spend so much time there, to go back to France, like you would feel more of like a romantic attachment to France because of spending so much time away. I mean, for sure. I know for me, like the things that I love about Australia so much more because of how much time I spend away.
Yeah, for sure. It's and I've always have like 1 month after the season to enjoy that. Like it was usually like September. But yeah, in fact, when you go back either for vacation or like for racing, like it does feel good to see obviously French fans too, and they really appreciate also you coming back and then do some races there, and that was also something that I really wanted to do because I raced the whole year in America. So if I can do at least one race a year in France, I would do it. So obviously it was good training when I used to race Bercy and then Geneva, but at the same time I would not only do it for the practice, I would do it for the pleasure of being there and enjoy the moment.
What do you miss the most about France? The food.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you can
obviously
say that,
friends and family as well.
But
like,
yeah, definitely hanging out with friends.
Yeah.
And ride with friends too. Just go out to the track, because that's how I grew up. Like I said earlier, it's just go out to the track and have fun with friends. So I still get to do that. Obviously, my best friends, they have kids now and jobs and stuff, so it's not easy to, when I go back, to get together and ride. But and they don't ride anymore because they're getting a little older with kids, like I said. So but that's what I like to enjoy. Have a good time with friends.
I wish people would not stop riding. I know that
I don't want to stop riding.
Yeah, I know it gets hard, and I know that it's a pain in the ass to load your bike and do the filters and the tires.
It is. It's always a great idea, but then it's more when you're done riding, then you have to load it back.
Deal with all the shit
and then
wash
clean
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I wish people would still put in the effort and make the time, because it's so rewarding, but it's so easy to give it up.
I don't know if DV would say that.
Really?
Yeah.
Does he ride much?
No, that's why. So he hasn't ridden without talking about the very last time we rode together, but before that, we had a trip to Moab, and we rode like enduro, whatever. So it was great. But since that, and that was like over maybe 2 years ago, maybe over 2 years ago. And now I keep saying, like, talking to DV, I said, let's go ride, because I have more time too, and I want to keep riding. And he says, dude, when I texted him, he said it was too hot. He said, I want to ride after it rains and when it's about, I think he said about 65 or 70 degrees. We're like, all right. Text him a few months later.
It's rained. The weather's nice.
Wait, what did he say? He had another excuse. I'm like, it was too cold probably. Too cold and too wet. Anyway, so, and then he texts me and he says, well, I made a step forward. I said, I bought a truck. Like, cool. Well, now I need a bike, he said. Then he bought a bike, a 250 YZF, because that's what he raced back in the day. So, and we finally went to the track together like twice. But that's it. That's it. But it was fun, dude. We both rode two strokes.
Yeah.
We went to Kahia on that vet track. The vet track.
So he rode that day. Was this recently when I saw you there, do you think?
Maybe 2 months ago.
Yeah, maybe that was the day on the vet track.
Yeah. And so I go out first, and
the dirt was the mint that day, dude.
So I was like, dude, it's awesome. And then DV show up on the track, and I jump back behind him, and side by side, two strokes, dude, side by side, or go over the jumps.
Yeah.
Clutch, burn or up. I'm like, I was riding, dude. I had a big smile.
Yeah.
And I was like, no way, this is freaking sick. End of the lap, DV pulls off. And I'm like, no way, that was awesome. Like, let's go. Yeah, probably got arm pump or whatever. I'm like, no way. We kept riding after that. He actually tried my KTM because he was curious to see how the fuel injected worked. Electric start, all that stuff. He was like, man, this is good.
Yeah.
This is good. Because right before that, DV had a little issue with the jetting, and he had to change it because higher altitude there at Kahia.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, so he had to work on the bike.
Yeah, and he was like,
my bike was fine because, fuel injected, it just adapt to the elevation. So we had a good time. That's
so funny. Yeah. I mean, and I think too, like, riding for me is hard. Like, I'm not that good of a rider, so it's like I've got to be training. I've got to be riding regularly for me to like really get the most out of it. But I just think about a guy like him that's won so many Supercross races. Like, if I had that much talent and ability to ride, I'd be like, dude, I'd be out there all the time, you know, just to have that skill and, you know.
That's what I'm thinking now. It's like all I want to do is ride. And when I do ride right now on the either vet track or like at their Apollo, my brain is just so much freer now. And I do whatever I want, you know, and I feel like I'm taking so much better lines than what I used to, you know. I mean, it's crazy, and I don't know if it makes sense, but
no, it does, because before you go to the track and you have a plan and you're trying to get the lap times, and it's like it's so just regimented and focused.
Yeah, I was too much like stuck in that, and now I'm like, man, I wish I was like that before, or more like that, more like a free in my mind, and more like play riding. Even though people are like, oh, you're the smoothest guy, and I'm like, yeah, but there's times where I'm like, I'm not using the best technique when I was racing or training at a high level.
And why is that? You were just so focused on just
because maybe sometimes I wanted to go too fast.
Yeah,
or
trying too hard.
Yeah, trying too hard, or maybe people didn't see that, but the feeling that I had riding, it was like that. Especially like training, I always wanted to best at training, and it wasn't the best. I mean, I know, like, mentally, if you're the fastest every time, yeah, it feels good. But I remember Dungey, I mean, me or Jason, we were better than him at practice track, but he would still do the work. But at the end of the day, like, it doesn't matter if you not the fastest at the practice track, you know, as long as you put your best effort, you did the work and you apply yourself, then you go to the races and you're fine. And Dungey used to win on the weekend, you know. So, and I was pumped to beat him at the practice track, but he would beat me at the race.
That must have been very frustrating.
Yeah, a little bit.
It would, I guess, maybe not like frustrating as much as it's like confusing in a way. Because you'd be like, man, I can smoke this dude every time we practice, but he finds a way to win the races.
Yeah, I think his focus was better than me at the races. Yeah, he was probably better to adapt to a new track, to the conditions, and obviously at the practice track we were so used to almost the same track, so so that was different.
Yeah, I guess I'd never really thought, like, you guys had a really good relationship with you and Ryan. I feel like you're very good teammates and could always race great together and would like put in a lot of work together, like at Aldon's together. Yeah. So you would have had a very good understanding of what he was like as a rider and a racer.
For sure. I learned a lot from Ryan. And dude, I remember 2015. So we started obviously back in 2012, but 2015, that's where we started training together at Aldon's. So I was on 250, he was on 450. So it was obviously awesome because we were like friends and trying to help each other, but not competing against each other. So obviously that makes a big difference, right? But even after that, I switched to move up to 450, and it was actually quite a bit the same, you know, and same relationship. Every time I had a bad race, like he would come to me or text me or call me. He said, hey, keep your head up, like give me advice and stuff. So I have a lot of respect for Ryan, and I really appreciate that. But the thing, it was cool for me because I wanted to be like Ryan, you know what I'm saying? Even though we have the same age, you know, our career was a lot different.
Yeah. Man, he's a good person. Like he actually, I think it's probably not a secret, like for people listening, that probably isn't surprising that he's a good person, but maybe people would be surprised that he's as good a person as he seems. You know, like on camera, everyone's on their best behavior, but he really is that guy. You know, like I saw him at Loretta's last year. Yeah. And we had like an hour and a half. We just stood there talking, you know, like just the nicest, hasn't changed at all. Just the nicest guy.
That's right. So now he's also part of Red Bull KTM. So we see each other at the races when I'm there. So
is he coming to more races now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's he doing with the team?
Helping the team, I guess. Yeah. So looks like we're going to be at some of the KTM events, you know, like a riders meeting and stuff like that, or like hopefully we get to ride together a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense for a brand like him honestly to keep both of you guys around, like just so much experience, like within the KTM group as well,
Of course. I mean, it's just, for myself, it's just so natural to be still part of the brand. I've raced for KTM for 15 years now. So, yeah.
Was the goal for you always to come to the US?
What's that?
Was the goal always to come to the US?
Yeah. Super early when I was young, I was just watching Supercross in America. So naturally, that's what I wanted to do. Obviously, when you're a kid, you're like, it's hard to be like, oh, I'm going to do that when I grow up. But naturally, that's what I kind of wanted to do. And I had the opportunity with KTM to sign a contract to the US. So it's crazy to think that, but it just naturally happened, I feel like.
Were you the first guy to do, you win 2 titles in Europe and then you basically just transfer your job from Europe to the US? Were you the first one to do that, or was Kenny before you?
No, Kenny was a year after.
Yeah, okay.
And then before
who did it before you?
I would say as a world champion on 250, Tyler Rattray.
Yeah, okay.
And
but
then
he didn't go to KTM though,
no,
right? He went to...
No, but he did.
He
did move to America. And then Tommy Searle as well.
Yeah.
Tommy never won a world championship, but he got second.
Yeah, man, he comes so close so many times.
Maybe twice.
Yeah.
Behind...
Jeff, I think.
Behind who?
I think he behind Jeffrey, I think.
I think Jeffrey was after.
Okay.
Yeah. No, Tommy Searle was with Tony Cairoli and Tyler Rattray. I'm guessing he got twice vice champion,
Yeah.
So, Tyler did the year before me. I think he raced, or maybe 2 years. I think he raced 09 here in the US and 10. And then I moved after 11.
Yeah. What was your time in the GPs like? Did you enjoy racing GPs, or do you wish you could have got to the US
It was really short, I feel like. Even though it was like 3 years, it went by fast.
Quick, yeah.
Yeah, because the first year I raced for a private team, French private team. The second year I started also like with this. I mean, I continued with the same team, but then I switched to KTM in the middle of the season. And then after that, I did one more year with KTM and then gone to the US. So
it went by quite quick. So what was the roadmap to get up to GPs? Like France obviously has such a good like national championship and then like the Supercross. Why are the French the ones that take Supercross the most seriously, do you think?
I mean, we do have a decent Supercross championship in France. And the good thing now is like there's more team in France. Before it was maybe 1 or 2, and now there's a few, maybe 5 or 6. They have more budget too, and they race the SMX or
WSX.
Yeah, sorry, WSX. But we don't have like a big Supercross championship in France or like in Europe, you know what I'm saying? It's only that little SX Tour, they call it in France. But like I said, I grew up riding Supercross, and we had an 85 championship back in the day, and they stopped that. They wanted to do it again, but for so many years that was gone. And dude, I would love racing 85 on Supercross. Like it was just awesome. And I continued that 125, 250, and I kept riding Supercross. So that's why. And also when you're in France, you watch like Supercross in America. So that's why they want to do the same.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it just seems like the French are the ones that they've produced more European Supercross champions. I mean, apart from Kenny, I think maybe it's only been French champions from Europe that I can think of. Is there any other non-French apart from Kenny?
In the last few years?
I mean, you got Porcel, you got you.
True.
I mean, Vialle's making a pretty good case.
Dylan?
Yeah, Ferrandis. So like that, when you really look at it, like French Supercross, they're maybe the most successful country outside of the US. I think Australia as well. But again, we have domestic championship.
Yeah,
like there's a lot of effort put into having a Supercross championship in Australia. It's not as good as the US, obviously.
Yeah,
but I think
it's way bigger than France.
For sure. And it's very clear that the countries that do well in Supercross in America have these national or have Supercross at a national level.
Yeah. And the good thing about French riders, they get to race in Germany, maybe in Italy a little bit, but or England. England, they have a decent championship. They are Arena Cross. A little sketchy.
Yeah,
but
a lot of sketchy.
But it's good to race.
Yeah,
it's good to race. I have my buddy Cedric Suberas.
Yeah. Yeah, he rides amazing.
Yeah, and he still rides.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's my age, 34.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's loving it. He raced a few times in America. Never got a full-time deal here in the country. But yeah, what he does a lot on his own, which I have a lot of respect. And so yeah, he raced a few times in America. So hopefully he comes back before he retires.
Yeah. So your early GPs, what was the first season in GPs like for you? Were you like sure that you were going to be a world champion, multiple time world champion?
Hell no.
Was it because I feel like there's some guys like you watch Kenny, you watch Jeffrey from early days on it.
That's different. Yeah.
You know, at some point,
because they were big on 85s.
Yeah.
And when they grew up, they were like at the top every time.
Yeah. Was that you?
No. I mean, I would get good results, but never like win championships. When I was younger, maybe one on 85, but nothing big. But yeah, like you said, a Kenny or a Hurlings, like they knew. I mean, especially they were like 15 when they started racing GPs. My first year
and
GPs,
so
I was 18.
Okay.
So, but anyway, I was so the route, like you asked me to go and to the top, I would say, and race GPs is the good thing now. They have European Championship, which they had before as well, but now it's part of the World Championship.
Yeah.
So it's the same weekend. And when I raced in 07, European Championship on 250, it was a different championship. So, dude, we will go in like crazy countries, like East, like Bulgaria or whatever. It was, it was decent. I mean, competition was good. Organization was pretty good. But yeah, a lot of driving. So I was there with Bud Racing, Kawasaki.
Yeah.
That year, and then so when you do that, especially now, you race pretty much the same team as the GPs.
Yeah.
So they can bring European guys with the GPs on the same weekend and race, so they can see those riders on the same weekend.
You can compare lap times, like you know where you're at.
And then they get picked up and race GPs. So yeah, what I did, I got a contract with a private French Honda team, and I raced GP for 2 years with them.
Yeah. What was the Honda like back then?
I mean, I liked the bike. I was able to like suspension wise and all that. Engine wise, it was a little slow.
Yeah, they were slow back then.
But it wasn't terrible.
Yeah.
And my first year was tough, like low budget. I had DNF multiple times. But man, it was the first year. It was just learning. I remember the GP of Lomo, I got 2 DNF. I don't know if like maybe crash, then you finished, you're tired, your track's so rough. I DNF. So it was a tough year. And then the second year, I have Yannick Hervela, the trainer. So that really helped me. I moved back from where the team was based. I moved somewhere else to where my trainer was. So I had a different training program that helped me. And then we went on to the second year of GPs. And the first round, I got third. It was a mud race and only one moto. But dude, I got third.
Yeah.
It was awesome. And then the second round, we go to Bulgaria, Sarajevo. And I went 1-3 and I won the overall.
Wow. And what class is this in?
That's GPs.
That's the MX.
250, MX2.
Wow.
So
that's a huge turnaround.
It is. And I'm not getting bonuses out of it.
Oh, really?
0.
No.
Yeah, dude. I'm winning a world championship race.
Wow.
At a 0.
Just because the team was so small and there was no actual manufacturers.
Yeah.
So even no bonus contingency from manufacturers?
No.
What was your sign-on for the team? None?
What it was what?
Like your sign-on money.
Well, I had zero either. No salary. I mean, it was on paper.
Yeah.
But they never paid me because they had to pay mechanics. They had to pay, the semi or whatever, the drive to the races. I mean, all that. So I never got paid. I was living off like an envelope with cash in it that I would get at the French championship races.
No.
Yeah, because I would also race the French championship. And obviously, if you get podiums, whatever, you get money. Anyway, I would get cash. So that's what I had. So me and my wife, we had...
and you were with Mathilde at this time?
Yeah, I mean, my wife, girlfriend at the time, for sure.
Wow.
Yeah, Mathilde. So I remember a funny story, dude, that a new phone came out that year, and I was like, dude, I want that phone. It was probably maybe 500 euros, so like crazy expensive.
Was it iPhone?
No, dude, I was probably a Samsung or something.
Yeah, okay.
And I was like, dude, I have the money right there, I just won the French championship or whatever. I have the money. And Mathilde was like, are you serious right now? Like, this is stupid. I'm like, why? I have the money. I want the phone. And she said, no, like, good thing she was there for me. Like, I would have, maybe do stupid things. So, I didn't realize. I mean, obviously, we had to pay an apartment and obviously groceries and stuff like that, So, I didn't get the phone, but I would do the training and all that, and I was focused on that. And then coming in the middle of the season, I was like second or third in the championship, and dude, the team owner comes to me and he said, dude, we're struggling big time right now, and I don't think we can make it to the next race. Like, they can't make it. Like, I don't think we can bring the semi or the truck there. So that's why, like, we looked somewhere else, and like we need to find a solution to keep racing, basically. So Sean Simpson, remember?
Yeah.
He was injured and he was racing for Red Bull KTM.
Yes, yeah, I remember that.
And I'm like, dude, that bike is just sitting there. I want this bike, right? That was a dream, to be a Red Bull KTM rider. So we did talk to them, and they're like, okay, let's go. Let's go try the bike. So that's how it happened. That's how I switched to KTM.
That's unbelievable. I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
I never knew that.
And there was more coming.
Wow.
Yeah. So obviously that French team was obviously pissed, right? And they found obviously budget, and they kept racing with another rider. So when I switched to KTM, obviously it was unreal. Show up to the next race for the first time on the KTM. I won every practice. I mean, fastest qualifying race, warm up fastest, first moto I won, second moto I won, like everything in England. So I was so confident I was gonna get the whole shot that the second moto I was way too confident that I messed up completely. I still got like a top 5 start, and then I came back to first, and I had good battles, but it was a dream weekend. But after that, a few rounds later, I won a few times. I was leading the championship. Everything was going on great, but then the French team, they're like, if you race one more time, like we'll sue you, right? We'll have to ask you money if you keep racing KTM, because they wanted me back or like something. So
yeah, because you're winning the championship, so it doesn't matter what bike you're on.
Yeah,
the points
right?
are your points. So,
but dude, crazy. So we show up to that race in Sweden, UNDEFEATED.
Yeah.
And I remember I was in like a sprint event of KTM. They would bring sprint events, so for whatever bikes or whatever, besides the semi. And then I was getting changed inside there, right? I didn't have an RV, nothing. So, and here comes a pit buyer, and he says, "Oh, we have a problem. The Honda team is here with another rider, but they also have a bike with number 25 on it, with a red plate." And they're going to tech to like pass the bike to tech. So they said I think you're gonna have to miss the first practice, because we have to deal with them, like, because they're asking us money, right? So I was in my gear. I was like, okay, I don't care. Like, I'm fine. I'm just going to miss the first practice. Who cares, right? I was confident, right? So I'm waiting. And then here he comes back and he says, dude, there's like no way. They're asking like a ton of money. If you raced, we can't do anything for you. Like, you're going to have to miss the whole race. I was leading the championship and they asked me to miss a whole race.
No.
Yeah. So, and Pitt's like, I get you a flight, you go home, and I'm like, no, I'm here. I stay here. So I stayed. I watched the whole race with Mathilde in the pit lane. You know, in GP they have a nice pit lane. So I watched the race. Kenny was probably like third in the championship, and Goncalves was second. But I think Kenny blew out an engine in one moto. So anyway, and Goncalves, I don't know what he gets, but at the end of the race, I'm still leading the championship without riding.
Wow.
Yeah. So, you know, in GPs, even if you're not on the podium, but you still like
so
leading
you
the
walked
championship.
up to get the red plate.
Yeah, you have to go on the podium and pick up the red plate. So I went on the podium. I had a black shirt, black shorts. I couldn't represent KTM, right? Because I'm not allowed. And I'm like, with the red plate, with like a normal black shirt. And after that, we had a maybe a month break, and then the next race was Belgium Lommel. So you have to get ready for that race, right? You have to go to Belgium. You have to ride in the sand. If not, I don't know. I don't know if you Jett Lawrence, you can work out, but you have to get used to that, right? So we went there. I was riding with like stock gear or whatever, no stickers on the bike, on the KTM. Tried to hide, right? Because the Honda team, they were trying to take me to court and all that stuff. So I'm 18. No, I was 19 years old. Like, I had no idea. Like, I'm going to have to go to court? Like, what am I going to do there? Like, how do I defend myself? Like, what is going on? Like, leave me alone. Like, let me
just
ride.
let me do my thing.
Yeah. It was gnarly. Just, I was like, what is going on? But at the same time, I just kept training because you can't stop.
Yeah.
So at the end, it worked out. We had to pay them. KTM had to pay them. I had to pay them. And then to get out of it. And then I kept racing KTM and I won the championship.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude,
I went to Lommel the next weekend and I went 1-1 in the sand. Like, and the year before, remember I said I DNF both motos in Lommel.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Do you remember how much it was that you had to pay?
Total, it was around 60, I think.
So not that bad.
No,
really.
It wasn't that bad because we tried to negotiate. But in Sweden that weekend, it was over 100, I think they were asking or whatever.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a bunch of dogs. Seriously.
Crazy.
Like, we can't afford to get you to the next race. Sorry, bro. I know you're leading the championship, but we're done. And then they just turn around and...
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. I mean, they wanted to keep the dream alive, you know, with me, but it didn't work out. My dream was to race a KTM, and I did it, and I have no regrets for sure. So that's why me, KTM, and Pete Byer, we have such a
good relationship,
and crazy stories, and
yeah. That played well into the future too. You know, like the loyalty that you showed them, and to sit out that race,
and them too. I mean, I know I did miss a race, but they still fought for me and gave me a contract and made my life easier after that. That's for sure. And I went on to the next year and battled Kenny on the championship every round and ended up winning.
Yeah, man. Do you remember the feeling of like to go from living out of an envelope, cash in the envelope, to being a factory KTM rider? Like, I'm sure there was a big championship bonus that came along with like winning. I mean, dude, your life just changed.
I mean, yeah, when you have a credit card and you can use it, it's a life-changing. Life-changing. Dude, I remember, I think I was in the train going somewhere, and yeah, I had no money at some point. I was like, I think I got stuck. I would try to go around in the metro, how you call it here in America?
Yeah,
Metro,
yeah.
Yeah, I was stuck. Crazy story. I don't know exactly why, but yeah, I was stuck because I couldn't use a credit card or whatever. I had to find another way, or Mathilde, I don't know, like crazy.
Did you ever think about not racing? Like, was it ever?
No.
Yeah, just never was.
Dude,
like, you know,
dirt
it's
bikes
too
is
hard.
all I known.
Yeah.
No, I never thought about stopping racing. It's just, but also with all those problems, I had really good people around me. Obviously, Mathilde first. I had Catherine, my agent. I was also my Yannick, my trainer. So I had good people around me. So I kept the focus on the training and on the riding, because, when you're 18, like, I didn't go to school a lot. I mean, like, I don't know. How can you deal with all that? I kind of let the people around me deal with it, and it worked out. I just believe I had good people, and I trusted them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
then you just focused on yourself, focused on your riding, focused on your training.
Yeah. And that's pretty much what I've done my whole life. Even when I was a kid, the way I was, I also trust my dad too, just the racing that we've done. My dad never really he didn't really like push me like, oh, you have to, or do this or do that. He just said, okay, we're going to do this and that. And he thought that was the best way to grow up, and move up to classes. And he did good for me as well. So I kind of like let things happen more than forcing things. And that really helped me.
Yeah. I mean, that's
and not freaking out either.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a beautiful way to approach life, like...
in some ways I probably got lucky, but I had good opportunities and I used them. And I remember Mathilde's dad, when I had with KTM offer or stuff like that, and he has a saying, he says, when the train comes, once you jump in it or you don't. So... meaning if you miss it, then it's over, right? If you miss the train, you don't jump in, then you're screwed, or you won't have that opportunity again. Maybe. So I like when he said that. So I followed that, and it worked out great.
Man, that's wild, and it's so cool that you and Mathilde have been through all that together. When did you guys meet?
Dude, we were 14 years old.
No.
GYPSY Supercross.
No.
You been to GYPSY?
I never went to GYPSY. Dude, do you remember when the terrorist attacks happened in Paris?
Yeah, but that was in Lille, in different stadium.
Oh, was it different?
Yeah, because they had construction in GYPSY Supercross, so they changed location for the race.
So that was the race I was going to go to. So I was doing a lot of filming with Stuart then, and he was supposed to go to that race, and then he pulled out. And I basically kind of had the choice to like still go because all the tickets were booked and everything. And then I ended up just going, no, I'm not going to go then.
But James went.
Did he go to that one?
Or maybe it was a second year, but
maybe
it was
maybe there was another one.
Yeah.
But anyway, there was something happened to...
We'll talk about that, guys. I have a little bit of stories about James there.
Oh, really?
With like people that took care of him, and his family there.
Ah, okay. Good or bad?
I mean... No, but like kind of like funny. Like James would not get out of his like hotel room, and he would order like cheeseburgers and stuff because he didn't want to try like all the foods. I was like, because a friend of me actually part of the organization, and he would like drive James and his family around, pick them up at the airport and all that. So
yeah,
I remember he would tell me like they would stop at the gas station to get coffee, and then James was like, "Hey, is the water from like a bottle water or is like tap water, like in the coffee?" Like that question like that. And my friend was like, "I don't know, it's just coffee." Drink it.
Yeah.
No, that's funny.
I'd believe it. Yeah.
But yeah, probably like just scared in a different country to get food poisoning or whatever. And I respect that, but it's funny.
Yeah. But yeah, for whatever reason, I didn't go. And that was the year that the terrorist attack happened.
Yeah.
And there was a thing, I was going to go to a Deftones concert.
Wow.
It was like a band. They were playing in town like the night before. And that's where the thing was. Like that's basically like where So that whole trip.
In that very small room?
there was like I can't remember all the details of it, but I'm pretty sure there was like it was something happened around like that concert where whatever the attack was, and yeah, so I didn't end up that was crazy. The one para Supercross that I was going to go to.
So you were supposed to be at that concert where the attack happened?
Yeah. I was going to go to that concert. I was going to go to the Supercross, and then I'm sure that James didn't go to like that one in particular.
That was maybe the
and
following
maybe he
year.
went to like the next one or whatever.
Makes
but
sense.
yeah, I ended up pulling out. I had a girlfriend at the time here, and I was like, I want to just stay and spend some time. And then that all went down. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
But I went to Geneva in 2015. That's where I was hanging out with you guys that time.
Yeah,
but
that's right.
I never actually went.
That's
to
the picture
Bercy.
I sent you. Remember on the starting line with you?
Yeah,
with
yeah.
with Mookie.
Yeah.
You're like with like me and Mookie on the starting line, and then you're like walking across.
Yeah. I have another photo. When you sent me the photo, I was confused because I have like a very similar photo from like the same time, but I think it was like me standing, and I was like, wait, did that photo change? But yeah, no, it was crazy cool. That was the night Adam Cincerillo had that crash. You remember?
Oh yeah. He raced once there.
Yeah, that was the start of the end of his that was the start of his injuries. Was that night?
Yeah,
he was ripping. He was going so fast that night. And then you remember you come onto the start line again. There was like maybe like an on-off. Yeah. And then you turn right onto the start straight and just and pulled his shoulder out. That was the first.
Dude, I forgot about that.
Yeah, that was where it all went.
Yeah,
started going
I do remember.
down.
Yeah, he said he like kind of like a whiskey throttle, and then he lost it.
Yeah. But man, just the crowd, the go-go dancer girls in like the BDSM suits and the fire.
I was gonna say the fire show is pretty cool there.
Man, it was unbelievable.
Yeah. Remember the fans, how they hit their feet on on the stands, because the stands are made out of metal.
Yeah.
Because they build them just for the race. It gets loud and scary.
Wild,
Scary. Because it feels like everything's gonna fall apart.
Yeah, and I remember because I was filming and I was just running around the track wherever I want, and all the French security guards were like, "Not possible, not possible." They kept telling me, "Not possible."
The only word they know.
Yeah, and I'm like, "It is possible. I'm doing it right now. It's very possible."
Yeah.
But yeah, that was
usually security guy, when they said, okay, if this guy doesn't have this pass or whatever, it's a no.
Yeah.
And those guys like, no, not possible.
Yeah, and I just remember it was funny, like we were joking. Actually, when we went to Le Mans, same thing. You got a media pass, you got a big camera, everyone starts freaking out. And we went to Le Mans the last 2 years ago, whatever it was, and same thing, not possible. And there was one guy, we were trying to get our media credentials, and the guy, he's like, oh, no English. And I'm like, media credential, like media. And he's like, media credential. And I was just like, you just said the same thing I said, but with a French accent, bro. I'm like, come on, you know what I'm trying to say. Like, it sounds the same.
I didn't know the French would do that, because I know American does that to the French.
Oh,
Big
really?
time.
Really? So it goes both ways?
I have to send you a link of a French comedian.
Oh, really?
In English, obviously. He speaks English, but it's funny. I show it to my American friend, and it's hilarious. Because he actually talk about himself coming to America and what he experienced. So,
well, dude, I get it all the time. Like, people just have they just don't know what I'm saying. Yeah. And I'm like
that's how I feel. That's how French people feel in America.
That's how I feel in America too.
Oh, wow. And you speak the same language.
Yeah. Dude, ice. What word did I just say?
Ice. I know. Sometimes like it happened to me.
Not possible.
It happened to me at a restaurant. I don't know what the word was, but I just say the words or like ask something, and the girl thought I was saying something else, but completely out of the
just
blue,
not even close.
But and not even close to, like, we are at a restaurant. You know what I'm saying?
It's going to be food related.
Yeah, right, or whatever it is, but in the restaurant. It's like a French comedian when he enter a restaurant and the lady goes, "Are you here to eat?" And he says, "No, I'm here to play tennis." what the fuck? It's a freaking restaurant. So kind of like that.
Yeah.
You know?
Dude, I get all the time, mate.
I don't know if you ask like water or if you ask, I don't know, like silverware, like.
Yeah.
And then she comes up with a word that is totally
not even close
to something that
is
related to a restaurant.
Yeah. Dude,
it's funny.
It happens to me, bro. Like,
wow.
all the time, man. And so I'll say Jace.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, with a CH? And I'm like,
CH.
yeah, like Chase.
Oh.
And I'm like, I mean, I guess that's
now
like,
you get me confused.
I guess it's like kind of similar, but it's like, I feel like I'm not saying chase. Like, it's very different, you know. But like, man, when I used to get over here, the ice was the biggest one. I'd say, can I get some ice? And they'd be like, ice. And they repeat back the word to, like, they're saying ice back to me. So like, if you repeat the word back to me, like, you're saying what I said.
Yeah.
And you know what ice is.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, ice. And I'm like, yeah, ice to put in my drink. And they're like, ice. I'm like, frozen.
Just freeze. Yeah, I was gonna say
frozen cubes of water.
Oh, I was gonna say you just froze their brain.
and they're like, oh, ice. And I'm like, yes, the exact same word that you just said back. Yes, it's been ice the entire.
Yeah.
But yeah, just no compute. And it's like it's a thing. But I feel like my accent was maybe worse when I got here.
Yeah, of course.
And I
I'm
started
pretty sure.
I started to like really try and like enunciate. And it's so funny too, like, because my wife's Russian, and people always, they're just like, oh, you're not from here. And it's just like, yes, like I'm definitely not from. So anyway, there's a whole lot there. I'm sure you've dealt with it.
Oh yeah, big time. Especially, it's funny because when I have a family or friends that comes over and they try to order food or whatever, it's and now I see it more because my English is not perfect, but I know more than when I moved to America. And dude, when me and my wife moved to America, I thought I knew English a little bit from the GPs, but I didn't.
Yeah.
Zero, dude. I show up here, I would not answer my phone. When someone will call me, like even like for my like phone or like AT&T, whatever. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't answer. Like, I would not understand. You know, I would speak, like, use words and stuff, but like understand
what they're saying.
You. Yeah. Zero, dude.
Really?
I would not even like answer the door at my house. Like, just I don't know. And Mathilde got better faster than me because she was doing all the logistic stuff. You know, like I don't know, stuff for the house or like TV. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like all the stuff you have to deal with. And on day basis, so she got better quick, and emails and stuff, and that was the thing too. I remember people would call me, and I said, "Send me an email."
Yeah,
that would be easier to read than listen.
Yeah, at least you could translate.
Yeah, not translate, but like the reading. You know, you see the words. It's way easier.
Man, I can't believe you guys have been together since you were 14.
Well, yeah.
Or like
15, about 15, 16. Like really together, I would say we're 15 years old to 16 years old. Yeah,
that's so wild. So was her family in motocross?
So actually, her dad used to be a mechanic for Jackie Villeman.
Oh yeah,
the first
ever
French world champion.
Yeah.
Just for 1 year with him, but Jackie and the Villeman family had 3 brothers.
Yeah.
And then they were all racing. And one of them, he was a mechanic for many, many years. So he would drive to the races all around Europe, I would say. He actually came to America once or twice to do a race or two. So he did the Dakar as a mechanic as well. So, dude, Mathilde's dad has crazy stories. Crazy stories of crossing borders in Europe and getting almost arrested and making sure everything was legal in the truck, and they would give away jerseys or like posters to get out
agents.
of it.
Yeah.
Crazy stories. I mean, I don't even know, like, unreal. So Mathilde's dad, and then her little brother raced. He's a little younger than me, but he would race on the same weekends as me. So then that's how I met Mathilde too.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I really met Mathilde because she was also working for a French magazine.
Okay.
Dedicated to only kids.
Okay.
Like for kids that would race. So I met her. She was at GYPSY Supercross. So the owner of the magazine introduced me to her, and that's how I met. So
that's wild.
Yeah.
You got lucky to meet like such a good girl at such a young age.
Yeah,
you know,
and then a girl that is so passionate about dirt bikes too. I mean, she even if Mathilde's not at the races or even she never missed a race. I mean, that I raced. So, and she would barely miss a practice day too.
Yeah, dude, that's what I remember.
Yeah, she wanted to be there. So, but anyway, like right now, I'm still going to the races to coach, and Mathilde would watch the race. You know, that's how much she loves it.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's what I remember. I remember every time I was at the test track, before we would ever talk or whatever, like she was there every single time that you were practicing. And I mean, I know for me, when I moved here in, I think it was 2011, when I came here, it was so hard. And I spoke English.
Yeah.
I can't, and I spent a lot of time with Kenny at that time, like when him and Heiko moved over, and like I know what they went through, and his English was really good, like when he was young as well. But man, like it's so hard to immigrate to a different country, and the pressures of racing as well, and like there's so much to deal with, and it's so hard to make it in a sport. In just if you're right now, like if you're Dax Bennick or if you're Juju Bemea, like it's hard to be a professional motocross racer. Course. But like to just add on all the layers of missing family, having to learn the English, navigating all of these new challenges, learning a new culture, like there's so much to add on top of what is already quite a difficult thing.
Yeah, true. I mean, I just feel like I had good people around me. Like I said earlier, just lucky to have Mathilde as well. Like she was, you know, taking care of so much stuff, you know, and I would just focus on doing my training and riding. So that's why I might have had it easy in some ways, you know, but, you know, when you have good people around you and you just follow your program and put everything into it, you know, it can happen. So, but obviously I adapt to the country really easy, you know. I got a house in Corona. I was like 10 minutes, like door to door, 10 minutes to the test track, you know. Dude, it was awesome. Awesome. It was just a dream. Like you would wake up in the morning and get to the track 9 a.m. and then I was able to come back home and have lunch at home. And then you can go out and do your cardio afterwards or whatever, gym. So to me, it was, I don't want to say easy because you got to work hard and stuff, but to adapt to the country and the way it works here in America. Because over in France, I would never ride in the morning. It was always like after 2 o'clock, always in the afternoon.
And why is that? Just tracks open and timing?
Yeah, I don't know. They just...
Or it was just
that's
the way
a good
that
question.
they did it.
I have no idea why, but I
That's
think
just how they did it.
now it changed. It changed a little bit. They might have opened in the morning, but back in the day it was only in the afternoon. But also like restaurant, you know, they only open. You probably know when you went to Paris. Like if you show up, I mean maybe not. I mean maybe not Paris.
It's still pretty rough.
Yeah, like, because Paris is Paris, a big city. There's a lot of tourists, so you have to adapt. But
you
if
get
you
up
go
at 6 o'clock in the morning in Paris, like I get up every day at 6 o'clock, bro. There's still people on the piss, like throwing up in the street because they've still been drinking. Like they're just getting home, and like, dude, you can't get dinner like until 10:30 at night.
Yeah, I know.
It's amazing in some ways.
Yeah.
But for other ways.
But then what I would say is more, Paris is an exception because there's a lot of tourists. They have to adapt to that and be open, you know, in a longer period. But in France, dude, you go to like 11:50, try to go to eat. They said, no, we open at 12.
Yeah.
And then you show up at 1:55.
You're like, it's time for a nap.
No, they said, no, we're closing, you know, like the kitchen closed, you know, like, damn it, you're like 5 minutes, you know. And that's the stuff that we realized by living in America for so long, and now we come back to France and we're like, damn, this is crazy. But in America, you have probably more people that work at a restaurant, for example. So you can work like be open for a longer time. So it's big difference.
It is crazy. Like you think about like where America is in like the hierarchy of the world. Like America is a superpower in terms of like it's the boss of the world basically. And it's like, why? Well, they're fucking up at 5 a.m. every day.
Yeah, dude,
and
the
they're
traffic,
at work by 7 and
the traffic at 5 a.m.
That's because everyone's going somewhere.
Yeah.
Everyone's grinding.
Once again,
everyone's working hard.
besides Paris, like in a normal city, I would say in France, at 6 o'clock, dude, it's dead.
Yeah.
Like dead. But then 8 or 9 o'clock, then there's a lot of people.
Yeah.
But before that, it's no one.
Yeah.
So,
and it's why America just is like the craziest place for like you can make so much money in America because people are working 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
You know?
Dude, in France, you're not you can't have like 2 jobs or whatever. Like, it's crazy.
There's no way.
Dude, if people wants to work like crazy, like let them do it.
Yeah. But it's just a cultural thing. And like, dude, Spain's even worse.
Yeah.
Spain, they just fucking go to sleep.
Europe.
They're just like, I had a lot of food for lunch. I'm going to have a nap.
I know.
It's like we got stuff.
But Spain's pretty crazy.
Oh, it's wild.
You go to dinner at 7 or 8, I think it's closed.
Yeah.
Because they open later.
Yeah.
Here in America, though, they eat at 5.
Yeah.
We have close friends. We make fun, of that because we have a snack around 4. Usually, like 4 o'clock snack is a big thing in France. Cause
afternoon tea, we call it in Australia.
Yeah. So when you're a kid, you get off school, whatever, around like 4:30, whatever. And then you have a snack, right? But you can't have dinner at 5. All people
you're full from your snack.
Yeah. Or people they work until at least 6 o'clock, maybe sometimes 7. So by the time they get home, get dinner ready, then you eat 8:30, 9.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the schedule is so different.
Yeah.
But my friends, they here in America, they go to bed 8:30, 9,
Yeah.
But then they wake up at freaking 5:30 or 6.
Yeah.
So it's just a different culture for sure.
Oh, yeah, like Paris, you're not eating dinner before 10 p.m. every night.
I know.
It's very cool, but you can just see the difference in like economies and like the way that people. It's probably like I'd say the West, like Western culture, probably goes maybe too far in like the hustle mentality. Like I think we're all. I'm a victim of it. I grind, and I feel like guilt if I'm not working. If I'm just sitting I like playing guitar, and if I'm just sitting on the couch playing guitar, I'm like, you're a piece of shit. You got the voice in your head's like, get up and work, bro. Like you gotta go.
That's good.
It is good, but I think at times maybe it would be good to just be a little bit more European and just enjoy.
But dude, the amount of time we spend at the dinner table is crazy compared to here in America.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we sit down for every like lunch and dinner.
Yeah.
It's a thing,
Yeah.
I grew up, you sit down at the table, you have the news on the TV, from like for like an hour for lunch and then an hour for dinner at night. So that's how I grew up, and I want to keep that, with my daughter, like get used to be at the table and eat dinner and lunch and have and almost at the same time every time, what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So not change that.
Yeah, it's funny, like with my wife where she's from, it's the same thing. Like she literally
I'm sure.
she cooks 3 proper meals every day.
Yeah.
Like, and nothing in our fridge ever goes to waste. Like there'll be
Mathilde's like that.
A couple days a week there'll just be some like random ass lunch where it's like a big board with just cooked all these random pieces of chicken, random bits of meat.
You mix it or whatever. It works.
Yeah, and it's just so cultural.
I remember we raced Motocross of Nations in Belgium in 2012, and I got to take Frankie, my mechanic, to France. I did a few times, but like that, that one time was like spend time actually at Mathilde's house. Her dad, and we don't spend a lot of time in France. So when we go, we enjoy our friends. So we have long dinners.
Long lunches, long dinners.
Yeah, and Frankie's like, you guys eat all day long.
Yeah.
Like, but you guys are not big. I'm not fat. Like, how?
Yeah.
It was funny. It was really funny. And he actually, I think he lost a little bit of weight over that trip.
Yeah.
And he couldn't believe it.
Man, when I went to Paris the last time, and I went Paris, Andorra, and then Spain, and it was like a 3-week trip. Dude, I could not eat bread for like weeks after. I felt I just ate so much bread because it was so good.
Yeah.
I think the big thing is like the food quality there. Like if you think about America, it's so big, and where the food's coming from to where it gets delivered to, there's like a lot of preserved. Like you've got to keep the food fresh for these long periods of time.
That makes sense.
But in France, they're just baking it right there every day. It's just such a fresh turnover of food. So I think that you end up with a different level of quality. Yeah. So like you kind of almost can eat more food without getting fat, essentially.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
never really thought about it yet, but yeah.
Yeah, well, that's so the reason why. Just a random fact for you: the reason why In-N-Out is only in like a few locations, like California and like a couple other smaller locations, is because they have a rule that an In-N-Out restaurant cannot be more than 300 miles from a food processing plant where they actually make the food.
Dang.
Because they don't freeze any of it.
That's why they're the best.
Yeah, but that's Europe though. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because they're not doing these like.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, because it's small countries, the food's like kind of coming from there. But yeah, there's all those like little crazy cultural differences that you just wouldn't expect unless you kind of like spent time in those places.
That's right.
Eh?
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
I'm looking at those pastries now.
Can you see it on the camera?
No, but so this is how invested we are. I love that.
Can you see it right here?
Yeah, we'll be able to see that for sure. So how hard did you find to go back to the Europe days? Like you mentioned to get a 1-1 at Lommel. Like how much time was invested in trying to get good in all of those conditions in Europe? Was it hard for you to get good in those conditions?
In the sand, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, I never moved to Belgium like most of the riders.
So the whole time you did GPs, you lived in France?
Yeah. We would go take the camper and bikes, whatever, and then spend a week or two, not even, I think a whole week, and then go back another time and camp there. That's it. But I know like a Tom Vialle, for example, like he lived in Belgium, by KTM and just rode pretty much sand. Then it would go to Spain, right in the dirt. But I never done that. It went by quick, like I said earlier.
Yeah.
Just it was a year and a half that I raced for KTM and then moved to America. So I was comfortable where I was with my trainer, and we would ride on the cornfield, dude. Just because it was so easy to just make your own track and work on technique. It would get so rough, so rutted.
Yeah, they do, huh?
Yeah, and that field had a drainage pipe underneath. You know what I'm saying? So it would rain, and the next day the top would get dry because it would drain really good.
Yeah.
So we're able to do on track and change it up with cones or whatever, and it gets so rough. And my trainer was really good at making me do like stand-up stuff. Stand up the whole lap, no rear brake or like no clutch, and we'll do a lot of that. Obviously, we'll go out and go on the public track, like a real motocross track for sure. But most of the time, it was on that cornfield, doing a lot of riding. So I didn't spend a lot of time in the sand, but I did enough to get used to it and comfortable.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, that's interesting that
Yeah.
you were kind of before the generation of just everyone moving to Lommel.
Yeah. I'm sure because they had maybe like 3 or maybe 4 GPs in the sand. So I think you kind of had to. And when most of the guys did it, then you don't have a choice. You're like, dude, if I mess up those like 4 GPs, then you lose too much.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool too that you did the cornfield thing. Like where we grew up in Australia, we had it similar, but it was with sugarcane. So
what is that?
Like sugar, just what sugar comes from. It's this tall, like 7 foot tall. It's just like a long stalk, basically.
Okay.
But it's the same as like a cornfield. It's just rows, and then once you take you take it off the top, you're left with all the
Yeah.
And so we would make tracks in between all of these roads, and they would get so rough because as soon as you were going against the rows, it was just so you'd be either like kind of straight line ruts in between, or then you'd make your turn, and if you were going the other way, it was just and that was honestly the training that we did where we grew up too.
Yeah.
So it's really cool that was where you spent so much time.
Yeah. I mean, when you think about it, of course, doing motos are important, but if you can't ride good, what's the point of doing? I mean, it's important. Like DV one day, DV said something. He got interviewed by a French guy a couple of years ago, and he says, "Oh, you see the new trend? You know, people are trying to copying Aldon Baker's program. You know, like they do like bike rides and all that stuff." And TV is like, yeah, it's good. It's good to work on your physical conditions, But if you don't work on the technique, if you're stronger physically, you're gonna be not good technically, but longer, like
yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, you can ride shit for longer. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. And dude, I was dying laughing. I was like, no way he said that. It was funny. So yeah, work on your technique, ride good before you go fast. That's what he said.
And did you, I guess, when you come to America, then like 15, you go to Aldon's.
Yeah.
I guess you're so developed technically at that point that it kind of does just become about doing those motos. Because like anytime that I was with you guys at Aldon's, it was just the stopwatch was out.
Yeah.
Aldon was on the finish line jump. Mathilde was on the pit board, and it was motos. But you'd obviously like built that foundation first to be able to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, correct. And it really helped me. Really, very last year racing and training with Aldon was big help. And I went out to the first round. I felt so confident, and I won the championship, almost won the outdoor championship. It was just a great year. So, and also the fact I was training with Dungey and doing the bike rides, the gym and stuff. It was such a big change. It was only us four too, with AC.
Yep.
Jason.
Yep.
Anderson and Ryan Dungey.
Yeah.
So we had a good group. It was the first year for Jason, so he was like
he hated it.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is he was not gonna beat Dungey the first year, like no way, or win the championship. So the atmosphere was good, you know what I'm saying? Like it was not like straight up like competition.
Yeah.
Maybe me and AC a little bit, but AC was younger. That was my last year on 250. I was gonna move up to 450, so we were battling, but it wasn't like we were battling for the championship together. And then same, Jason with Dungey. So great atmosphere. We're all kind of in some ways helping each other.
Yeah. Did the dynamic change at all in the time that you were there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, yeah, my goal was to be a champion and be like Ryan Dungey. I did move up to 450 in 16 the following year, and then Zach Osborne came up, but he was on 250, so that also helped. When you train with a 250 rider that is fast enough to push you on the track, and you're on 450, you're not gonna battle him at the races, so it's always better, right? Yeah. So, but the dynamic changed for sure when Dungey left. Then all of a sudden, Dungey's not the leader. Then it's me and Jason.
And it's like, who's the boss?
Kind of, but like we're seeing each other every day at the track, at the gym, on the bike ride, a race on the weekend together, And then Cooper Webb came up in 19. So definitely 18, 19, 20. Yeah, it changed from how it was before.
Was it less enjoyable?
Yeah, and I think I was okay with that. When you mentioned like motos and all that, I think I was able to last 7 years at Aldon's because outside of dirt bikes, it was me and my wife, and I don't know how to say, but I was able to, in some ways, kind of enjoy the time off when we had time off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It made it a little easier on me, on my brain.
Yeah.
If not, dude, if it was by myself, it would have been really tough, because mentally at the track was really difficult, because I wanted to win every day. You know, I wanted to be the best every time at practice, and it cost me sometimes.
Yeah. What was hard about it?
Not being the best.
Yeah.
You would get beat at the practice, and I would take it way too seriously.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I should have done it more like a Dungey. Even though like Dungey would deep inside, he would get pissed if we would not win practice. I say win, or be the best, or be the fastest.
But you know who's the fastest every day,
yeah,
right?
but I remember Dungey would get a little bit upset, but he would not show it too much.
Yeah.
And that's how strong he was.
Yeah, because I think so. People always complain when I talk about it, but like I think about like a jiu-jitsu gym, right? So it's like this intense martial art where you go in there every day, and I know that there's people I don't want to train with because they're fucking dickheads, and that they're going to try and hurt me, and that it's going to be very, very physical and full on. Mm-hmm. Some days you don't want that. And then there's other people that are like very close to your level, but it's fun and it's enjoyable, and it's like this good, that you know that they're not going to try hurt you. You know that it's like a good intentions. And then there's other people that you know that you're so much better than, and you've got to treat them with like a lot of respect, because you could destroy, like you could just fucking bash that person if you wanted to, you know. So like there's this very complex dynamic, and it gets very tiring. Like I've been in gyms, like I've left a gym before because I just got sick of dealing with that. I got sick of like the confrontational energy that was there every time, and I want to win every time, even if it's a person that I'm not as good as. Like I'm going to fight that person like I can win, even though I can't. And that, it wears on you, you know, like mentally every day that you go to the gym and you know that there's people there that you're going to have this like confrontation with. It gets very, very mentally draining, and it distracts you from just doing jiu-jitsu and getting better at martial arts, you know. So like I feel like from living in that experience, and any time I'd go to the baker's factory and I'd see the vibe and I would see the way that the guys interacted, like I could relate it to that experience, and I would know like, fuck, this would get old.
And I think that's what took my focus off doing my best, you know, technique or the best training, is because I was way too focused on being the fastest. But I don't know if that makes sense, but in a bad way, because I was trying too hard, or not being precise, or revving the bike. I mean, I've seen videos of myself, like, I'm like, are you stupid, or what? Why are you doing that? It's practice.
Yeah.
Dude, I just thinking about it, I'm really mad at myself doing some of this stuff like that. And I realize it a lot now, because I go to the track and
you can see it from the outside.
Yeah, from the outside, I see Tom Vialle. Luckily, you know, he's super calm and he does his work and all that. But when I think of what I've done and stuff, I've had like unreal days, you know, like one of the best riding and stuff. But other days when I would get frustrated, I would get tired and not be able to accomplish what I wanted, and that really kind of slowed me down, and it was not good.
Yeah, and there's like a mental drain that comes from that that I think makes it hard to just.
But then after that, I would regret it. You know, you drive back home and you're like, why? You know, why I've done that? So, yeah, I have some regrets of that. Even though at the races, it didn't really affect me though.
Yeah.
But it was more during the week.
Yeah, and I think it's just a double-edged sword though, right? You know, like, because you're the kind of person that won 2 world championships and 1 Supercross championships, and you won a lot of things, and it's like, it's because you're so competitive. So it's like, there's a balance to strike, but there's a certain level of competitiveness that you need every day to even reach the level that you reach to start with before you win a race.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. And I would not say, I never said, oh, I hate losing. It's weird. You know, like if we play a game or whatever, but on the dirt bike, I don't know. It's different. different. I don't know how to say it.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And how was Aldon in managing those situations?
Yeah, man, he would hate it when I would rev the bike. You get pissed and you rev the bike, and he would definitely not like that. Yeah, he was trying to control that the best, but then after that we were more riders, so it's not easy to take care of every riders. But at the same time, I think I was one of the easiest rider to deal with at Aldon's.
I think so.
Yeah, I'd like to ask Aldon that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, I mean, he's a great guy. Like, he is such a good dude. And he has such a unique story.
Yeah.
Like
he has a lot of stories.
Like, the life that he's lived is incredible, and I just find him a very fascinating human being, to build what he's built. And in a lot of ways, like, I mean, he changed the sport in a lot of ways, but in a lot of ways too, when you think about what he did with the Baker's factory and starting with, a couple of guys, and then now it's like a football, a football team almost, you know what I mean? But it's like he was just pioneering. I don't know that he knew what he was building or doing, it kind of like just took on a life of its own, and it would have been so hard to manage those personalities.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it all. I mean, when I show up to Aldon, they were starting to build the first track.
Yeah, I remember those days.
Yeah, and the building was not even up.
Yeah.
So I've seen everything growing there, and to be fully honest, like the first years were just the best.
Oh, dude.
And I'm sure Aldon
would think the same.
Aldon missed the first years over there.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on there. Obviously now with KTM, the whole group, is exclusive, facility for them. So back when I started, it was AC on the Kawi, so it was Kenny on the Suzuki at the very first. So
yeah,
it was a lot different.
Yeah, man. I remember those first years. I remember it before the buildings were all the way up, and they just had the two Supercross tracks right next to where that first shed was, and just a crazy vibe. Then like there was you had like the tiny little gym in like the end of one of them, and like some small little locker spaces. Yeah,
well, at first we do the gym at his house, but then the bikes we put the bikes at his house. I think that at first we were washing the bikes at his house, and then we were pitting in the container there.
Yeah,
at the property. So that was cool. We had definitely had good times the first years.
What was the dynamic between Ando and Coop like?
Did ever
were they
together?
Ever there at the same time?
I don't
so
think
they
so.
weren't there.
Maybe a little bit. Did Jason quit training around end of 18? Oh yeah, no, 19. So it was right in between.
Yeah. I wondered if there was overlap, because I feel like Coop is such like a top dog kind of energy. Like I feel like he runs off like I might be wrong, but I feel like he like has that alpha energy like all the time. And I feel like Ando sort of like has that, but not. Like he kind of wants to come across like he doesn't care a lot of times, but he kind of does as well.
No, definitely Jason. Yeah, I mean he talked about it here though, about not liking training with the competition straight up, so he decided to move parts. I mean, like to move on a different building on the same property. Remember, he tried to get his bike like somewhere else to be not fully with us, but then he would still meet us and do the gym. So, dude, that was like a lot going on, and I think, dude, Aldon hated it. Hated it because he had to take care of all that, and obviously, what Aldon wants is just focus on the training and not have to deal with competition between us.
Yeah.
He wants us to just follow the program and be good. Sorry.
No, that's right. How hard is it to put all that aside at the races, or like does it affect you like on race day, or is it hard to race those guys the way that you maybe want to because you have to see them again on Monday?
Yeah, dude. When when either Jason won on the weekend and then on Monday, on Tuesday, you see him at the track, you're like, damn it,
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah, like shit, And then you beat him at the practice track, but you're like, who cares?
Yeah.
I mean, do your work and then beat him at the race.
Yeah.
So it was not easy, but at the same time, dude, we would push each other like crazy at the on the track at the practice, just trying to beat each other during the week. That really pushed. Your heart rate goes through the roof. You push the limit, and to some point where, unfortunately, you lose a little bit of a technique. I would say, that's what I've done sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's why at some point I was like, enough. If I want to keep enjoying riding and if I want to keep racing, after my 30s, when you become like 30, like I'm like, dude, if I want to keep going, I want to change that program, and that's why I went with DV.
Yeah, okay. And so where did you start riding, and like what did you do different when you did end up moving it out of the program?
Well, first of all, honestly, like KTM, they thought I was probably done, And then they had Webb, and then they signed AP. And they thought that was it, They didn't want to have 3 riders, and I'm like, dude, I want to keep racing. So they're like, okay, we can do a Supercross only program. So that's what we did, and then I stayed in California and trained with DV full time.
Yeah. And what was it like to change the program? Like, did you get what you wanted out of the change?
I wanted to, I don't want to say do less work, because with DV, dude, it was like the physical part, it was tough, like the bike riding and stuff, that was pretty gnarly. But what I wanted to change is also the riding and a different perspective,
Maybe back to like
DV.
how you used to go.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
But like DV,
With DV, you kind of went a little bit more old school in a way, like back to the cornfield days of more technique, more focusing on the technique.
yeah, exactly. I really like DV's theory. Just and I learned also from what he's done with Ferrandis, with Dylan for so many years, and I started working a little bit with DV in 19.
Okay.
Actually, he came to Florida. We tried to do some work, but it didn't work out really with Aldon. Even though Aldon kind of let me work with DV on the riding coach, I would say. It was hard to fit in DV into my program. So yeah, at the end of the following year, I didn't even work with DV at all. It was only 19, and then end of actually 21. That's where I said stop with Aldon, and then I full time with DV. So the main thing with DV is, it was all about riding good before we ride fast. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was a lot of section work, mainly whoops too, because, whoops I had still some work to do. And DV was like, dude, in the whoops, you have to have your finger on the clutch. I never had finger on the clutch in the whoops my whole career, besides the last 2 years. It's an unreal. Like, thinking about it, I'm like, that's crazy that no one, because I had no one around me, but like really no one taught me this or like really pushed me to do that. And so I would use my middle finger to clutch everywhere on the track, but the whoops was no clutch. But DV said you have to use your index finger, like in the whoops and all the time. So to change finger,
Oh, that would be crazy.
it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It took me at least 2 weeks to get used to it. I've had problem a little bit with the wrist and stuff. So doing that, dude, it gave me like pain in my like tendons or like muscle pain, blister on the finger, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But dude, now I can't go back to how I did it for.
I can't see how
50
people
years.
ride with the middle finger. Like,
Yeah.
that to me, that seems crazy.
It's habits. Just if
How you
if
learn,
you're
yeah,
used to it, yeah. Because if I tell you to change that, then there's no way. So DV had me change that.
And so what, he just thought that you were losing drive through the whoops by not being able to like slip the clutch, or
Not really, drive, but also control.
control, yeah.
That's the main thing.
Yeah. So
It's all
like you
about
just
control.
you just start spinning as you got further through the whoops, or
Any situation, the finger on the clutch will help you. even if you too slow or too fast, or if you go sideways, or if you miss one, DV would tell me the clutch is your friend.
Yeah.
So now I can't go back to what I'm used to for the last 20 years.
Yeah. And it was a big help. Like it instantly changed the way you rode the whoops. Or
Yeah, I mean, I was more consistent through the whoops for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I really wish I started working with GV in some ways earlier in my career, for sure. When I remember what I've done in 18, when I come close to winning a championship, I feel like with more like technique work and stuff, I would have been better.
So when you won the championship, when you got second in the championship,
18.
Ando won the championship, and you guys were training together every weekend, or had he moved by then?
Man, I can't really remember, but I'm sure he started to move away.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we were battling. So
That would have been
I
pretty.
don't have that on my top of my head. I mean, I've done so many years.
Yeah, exactly. They're all, and it's the same
I
thing
can't
every
remember
single
exactly. Yeah. I mean, I remember a few things, but yeah, it's crazy.
Like, and just to think that your main guy that you're battling with the championship, like you work, you
Yeah.
essentially work a 9-to-5 job with that dude.
Yeah. Obviously, Aldon theory was to help each other, obviously, like push each other on the track. Like he would, obviously, if Dungey was like the number one, obviously, he'd be like, oh, damn, I'm helping the other guys. But then Aldon will tell him like, yeah, but if those guys behind you are getting closer to you, it's going to push you, not to get beat by those guys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
And you're like, yeah, he's not completely wrong,
Yeah, yeah.
on that. But man, it's always harder when you're the best one,
Yeah.
and training with other guys. So that's how Jason felt. Jason was like,
I'm bringing these guys with me.
kind of,
Yeah.
Even though I could be better than Jason, we were battling every weekend at the races. So he's like, I'm not going to ride with him.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to helping in any ways,
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think it's one hole in the program is that Aldon was never a great rider.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it's
and
not,
he'll tell you.
Yeah.
He knows.
Yeah. And I don't think he ever tried to be the technique guy.
No.
Like I was never around him
When
where
he
he
knows,
was telling
then-
people how
yeah.
to ride. But I think that, like you said, you do miss having a DV
Mm-hmm.
around. But then,
But it's hard to mix everything,
yeah.
really, because I
Yeah.
tried.
Yeah.
I tried and it didn't work out.
But you think about a guy like Dazzy, like Darren Lawrence, like he was never an amazing
Mm-hmm.
rider, but like he's coached the boys, like he can.
That I don't know. I don't know how much he's doing, but
but,
you know more than me.
Yeah, but like, so he is involved in the
Yes.
technical and he does. So it's like, do you need to be a great rider to like truly understand technique and like to be able to coach and like,
No, but at the end, that's the dad.
yeah.
So, and I think that's what he says. He says, those are my sons, and I know
First,
exactly
yeah.
what they need,
Yeah.
because he knows them really, really well. So,
But I think to be at the level that we're at in the sport now, I really think you do need somebody to be like, put your finger on the clutch or to, like,
to remind you little things.
yeah,
And that's what I see right now, coaching with Tom. It's very little things. Sometimes I'm like, maybe.
should I even say this?
Yeah, it's like a small detail, but it's huge on the riding and for the rider.
Yeah. But I think it's strange in motocross because it's such like a feel sport and there's so much like quote unquote talent that's involved and these guys are so talented and that's why they can do what they do. But I think like, to go back into like the jiu-jitsu thing, it's like that sport's all technique. And you realize by doing that sport, the kind of talent, like, yes, there's talent in terms of like being able to see things. Like you can see, I know this dude in three seconds, he's going to put his arm somewhere where
Same in Supercross.
yeah. And it's like, I think that's what talent is in a sense, is like, there's some people have an ability to like read the situation, like almost see the thing happen before it happens. but there's still so much technique in then being able to execute the thing that you see. So it's like you can see this thing coming, but do you have the skill? Do you have the technique to then execute on this thing that you're seeing? So it's like there is such a balance between the talent that would let you see these things in the future, essentially, and then having the talent to the skill to execute them, you know.
And I mean, Jett Lawrence. I know it's easy to mention Jett, but what is really impresses me is he's so smart too. You know, okay, he's really technical and stuff, but it's also when to push and when to be smooth and when to, you know, and reading the track and knowing, where and when to push. That this is unreal what he's doing right now. So it takes a lot of focus, and you have to train that. Like it doesn't come, you know, overnight. I mean, you see Jett, what he's done in the past on 250. You know how he would go through the whoops, like he can't go faster, but he tried to go faster and then he crashed.
Yeah.
That would never happen again.
Yeah, no, he's not that guy anymore. No.
So that tells you, okay, he's talented, but he's made progress again, you know. So that's mental, and that you have to practice that. And even this year, remember the mistake that he's done jumping off, landing on the tough block.
Yeah, at Arlington.
Yeah,
he
could have done that in Indy. You see how red it was, and you see how close he was off the tough blocks, because the rut he would take was on the edge. But dude, he was that much more focused.
Yeah.
So that means you have to train also that.
Yeah, and I think that's having someone good in your corner. Like that's really having someone as well that's like pinpointing. I mean, I think crashing in the lead, like that's like an obvious mistake, but just to really have people like grounding you and like really helping you learn these lessons, it's just huge.
I'm curious to know what he does during the week.
In terms of riding?
Yeah. Training and riding.
I think that's, I mean, when you think about it, like they bought their own compound, they do their own thing.
Yeah.
They handpick everybody that goes there. Like they're on it's like another level, you know, like they've got their own baker's factory essentially, but it's like, but they're the boss of it.
That's the, well, yeah.
And
you said it. That's the big difference. Yeah.
So no one knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
And
because I remember at Aldon's, we'd always try to be like, complain, you know, like, oh, but we want to do this, we want to do that. But it was more like Aldon has his program, and he might have changed a little bit. I had some echo that I heard maybe they do a little bit different on the physical part, but I think the riding is, you know, stayed the same. And that's what is good about the Lawrences is if they feel good, they do their motos or whatever, but they be able to change and adapt to how they feel or really what they need to improve, and that's huge.
Yeah, and I think I just think having like Dazzy, it's so cool when you're there too, because like that's Dazzy's place. Like Dazzy runs that shit. You know, that's his facility, that's his compound. Like, yeah, it's the boys, but like that's his deal, you know. And like the level of respect they have for him, everyone's having fun, everyone's, you know, it's a good vibe, but it's like there's a very clear, like, this is what we do, this is Dazzy's place. And so I think that they've got such a good mix of like having a really strong leader, but then a leader that's there just for them. That's it.
Yeah.
And there's no money getting changed. There's no deals. There's no KTM. It's like, it's very, very, very simple. Like they own it. Dazzy's the boss. The boys listen to the advice. They listen to the deal. I'm sure Johnny O gives them the, you know, the program, but everything's there. And
but Johnny O is not like
a drill sergeant.
It is
there.
like this, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's maybe he was like that before, right?
Maybe.
No? Yeah.
Johnny O? Yeah, I'm not sure. I think like, I don't think he's there with them 24/7 though. So they've got like their own gym at the place, and they kind of, I'm sure they'd like have a program that they stick to. But yeah, I think they've got like enough flexibility in their program, but like a very clear, like this is the this is the way it gets done, you know?
Yeah. What I'm really impressed too is obviously there's a huge amount of pressure I would say, on Jett mainly right now. But his brain is still so fresh, you know? Like, I remember, you know, Dr. G?
Yeah, yeah.
The other day he says, dude, Jett spent the whole day watching his girlfriend's show, you know, on his phone on race day.
Yeah, yeah.
In between practice and all that. So that's funny. He's still in some ways a kid.
Yeah.
But man, when he's on the bike, he's not a kid. He's a full-grown adult.
It's pretty... I think people now... I've been saying, obviously, for years, I'm like, yeah, Jett's the deal. But I also saw him on a 65 in Australia and was just like, bro.
Yeah. Really?
Like, it was ridiculous. Yeah. Like, in a 4-lap club day, lap everybody. Yeah. You know, like, it's just this... And there has been a lot of great riders that come from Australia, but like just nothing like that. Just nothing like the level of talent that he had. And he always has been like that. Just doesn't really, just like gets off the track, builds some sandcastles, just not, almost like not interested. But then on the track is just like this complete freak, you know. Yeah. But I think people now, like especially after the last couple races, they're like, oh, okay, yeah, it's over. Like, there's just not a person that's going to be able to beat him. I mean, I don't know what you think about that, but I don't see anybody just beating him at motocross or supercross.
Yeah. I was, I don't know how to say it, but yeah, obviously I was a little bit disappointed to see the incident in San Diego.
What part of it did you not like?
Yeah, Jett yelling like this at Jason. Yeah, to me it was a little too much. But I'm sure he'll learn from that. I don't think he'll do it again. No. Or he'll do it but different.
Not to Jason.
To Jason, but like maybe like off the track.
Yeah, yeah.
But dude, when you're in the heat of the moment, you don't think that much right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't pass a guy that you're faster, and you get frustrated, and dude, your heart rate, your blood flow is boiling, you know. So yeah, I get it. He was mad, but yeah, a little bit disappointed of the whole situation. But he'll learn from it. But now, dude, he won races and on every condition. Daytona, dude,
gnarly Daytona.
Yeah, he didn't get the whole shot, and then he got to the lead, and he had 10-second lead over the two best riders right now, Sexton and Tomac.
And the best rider ever at Daytona.
Then Birmingham, Reddit, he won. Beginning of the season, it was dry, he won. This weekend, full of rats, soft, he won. 3 main events.
Three triple crowns.
He's able to adapt really well to any kind of track, any kind of where he's at the track, even though bad start or whatever, he was able to win, you know, any kind of races. So I don't know. Maybe if someone hit him and he crashed, he might not win, but if not, he's gonna win.
Yeah, and so you think that now, like you're like, yeah, it's just done.
I did say with DV, we do a podcast with DV in French, and I kind of have a feeling that Chase Sexton might be able to beat him on a good day with like on a drier track, maybe not as rutted as Indy, but yeah, I kind of feel like I kind of want to put my money on Sexton might beat him.
Yeah.
At least once.
Yeah. What did you like? What do you make of last weekend when you see him just like every lap jump into the whoops? Like it's just they're the things when you've got like he doesn't do it all day, and then he sees Kenny do it on the first lap, and then he's like, oh, sick, and then he does it, and then all 3 mains every single lap, just never missed a beat. And you know, Jason Thomas did the really great breakdown of, you know, standing in the whoop section, and like it gives a really good perspective. Like that is
big time. Yeah.
When if Ken Roxon's not doing something tech on a track, then that's really fucking hard. Yeah. It's really hard.
Well, if you listen to DV told me, he said, you can do that easy. I said, yeah, maybe at the practice track, but in the race, I was not good at doing other things at the race.
Like once you were locked in and
Kind of locked in and kind of like, oh shoot, like what if I mess up? Like, ooh, what if I crash? And that was a problem for me. And Divi keeps saying that. He said, I never really show 100% of what I'm capable of at the races. But that jump into the whoops at Indy, obviously Jett made it look easy, but it's not easy. Because the jump is easy. But the landing at the right spot into the ruts.
With a full whoop section after it.
And then hop 3 after that and 3 again. Not losing balance, not catching a foot peg in the rut.
Not hitting a tough block.
Not hitting a lapper, because one lap, a lapper was in front of him. It's so nice to watch. I mean, I enjoy so much watching that, because I'm reading like every single thing that he does. Obviously, watching from the outside now. For him, it might be easy technically, but mentally, like he really has to be like really calm in his head to be able to do that every lap, and that's his strength right now.
Yeah, but do you think that maybe comes because like he could go faster? Like I think for like to put in my own experience riding, like I can do tons of cool shit on a bike when I'm at 80%. And it's like easy to have a clear head when I'm not. But if I'm like maxing out my speed, which is shit, which is very slow, obviously. But like for me, I'm maxed out. So the feeling of being maxed out, I think it's the same feeling for everybody. So it's like, is he able to be so clear-headed and so, what you're explaining, just because he's not even going that fast? That's what I think happens.
I believe that Jett is so good at this part of the track. He's at 100%. This one right here at 80.
Yeah.
This one close to 100. That's his strength.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
Oh yeah. And that's what I'm trying to explain to anybody I'm coaching. Is you have to know where you can push and where you cannot. There is an area of the track where you cannot gain time. Period. No way. And Jett knows that, and that's where he's super strong. Super strong. He comes in the rut or whatever. Sometimes, especially outdoors last year, sometimes you're like, what is he doing? He looks slow, right? Right? I mean, but he knows that section he cannot make up time, or if he tries to go faster, it's a waste of time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or a waste of energy.
Yeah.
And that's where Jett is the best right now.
Yeah.
And you can see it.
That's such a weird natural talent, man.
Yeah.
Because I think
it takes a lot mentally.
Yeah, and I think some people just have that. Like when you, if you ever go like go-kart driving with like a really like a good like a Formula One driver or something, or you ride like a Vialle with like Fabio, and you can do a corner as fast as you go around the corner, you're like, oh fuck, I could do this, But then it's like every single corner, they know the speed of the corner, and like even in some of the, like I've done some coaching with Townley, right? He got me hitting some turns faster than I've ever hit a turn in my life. And I felt slow, but it was the setup for it. And it was all of the things that you do correct to like generate speed. The feeling of going fast isn't fast.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
it's crazy.
You know what I mean? And so like, but to me as like someone that I would say is like it's so talented in that way. I'm just trying to go fast all the time, and you end up going so slow. So it's like it's like a weird paradox, and I think that's sometimes too where like the natural talent comes in, is just like knowing what the speed is, like knowing what is fast enough, or like you said, to go slow through the section to then generate that speed down the track. Like that is a crazy talent.
How hard mentally was it, though? I mean, like to do that corner, you said.
Oh, not at all.
Yeah. No, but what I'm saying, like thinking it doesn't feel fast. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah, and so you can relate, like the fast the times you do things fast, they feel very slow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd never experienced, like I had to look at the video
Yes.
after to feel
It looked good.
like I was going
Yeah.
as fast as what I was, you know, but it was just so effortless. And
Yep.
but then to try and replicate that
Yeah.
feeling, I wouldn't work.
But what I'm saying is like it's mentally difficult to do that because you want to go fast.
Yeah,
so bad.
the easy thing mentally is just to go as fast
Yeah.
as you can. Yeah, I
Yeah,
get what
kind
you're
of.
saying. Yeah.
But like to calm your brain and said, okay, like relax here. Like you gotta, be patient. So Jett is just a very, very calculated rider.
Yeah. Well, and so what's the future look like? Are we just stuck watching Jett win every main from now on?
I mean, if he was 31 years old, maybe not, but he's 20.
Fuck, it's
20 years old.
crazy.
So, I mean, I don't see like right now, even like younger generation who can beat him or be as, I would say, talented or as good as him. I don't see it. But like I said earlier, we have still Chase Sexton, I feel like. I don't know how long Kenny would race. I don't know how long Anderson would race, but probably a couple more years. But in the long run, I think Jett is many, many years ahead of him.
Yeah. It's funny that Jett got so much shit for like saying he wants to beat McGrath's record. Like, do you find it strange that people would criticize him for that?
It depends. Yeah, it might be the way he said it. There's so much kind of pressure behind him, dude. He just went 22 or no 20.
22 or no, yeah.
Yeah, 22 and not 24. He used to be 24. Yeah,
I
but now
still say
22.
24. No,
Yeah, 22 and outdoors. So people are automatically saying, "Oh, he's gonna win everything," and then he won A1. So like, here he comes, And then round 2, he doesn't win. So people are like, "Oh, you talk about McGrath."
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
How can you talk about
dare you?
McGrath? You just won one main
Yeah.
out of 72. Like, but I mean, I respect the kid for talking about it and thinking about it because that means that's what he wants.
Yeah.
So let him be. For sure, you have to respect MC for what he's done. But I mean, the kid already think about 72, so that's gnarly.
But I think, like what kind of competitor would you be if you didn't want to be the best of all time? Like if you've already, like if you look back at your history and you've won everything in the 250 class and you've
especially at his age.
Yeah, and you got a perfect season in outdoors. No one's ever done it as a rookie. Like no one will probably ever do that.
Yeah, so naturally, if there is one guy who can do it, that's him because he's so young and he has time.
And what goals do you have to set? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
right.
like what if you've done
because he's already winning.
If you've done everything.
Yeah, I never thought about beating records because I never really won. Then I won one championship. I was 25 years old, and then I moved up to 450 and it was difficult. I started winning and all I wanted to do is be able to win a couple of times, you can't setting up your mind on winning everything is when you start that young, and that's where Jett is at.
Yeah. So I think it's like I get that people would be pissed off about it, especially he's not even American,
Yeah.
So I think that there is I get where people were upset, but in my head I'm like, fuck, kind of makes sense. Like, sort of seems like a given that he's gonna win a chance. Like, So
and at the same time, he wants to enjoy life. So having nice cars and stuff. So he's like, dude, I have to win if I want to do that.
Well, dude,
that's a good goal.
I think as well that there's something to that, because like even Villapoto, when he was here, he's like, man, I had a number in mind of like how much money I wanted, and then I was going to retire. And then it's like as soon as he hit that number quick, and then it's like, well, if you're in a sport that you can die or you can be physically, you know what I mean? Like this is a dangerous game. It's like if you've spent your whole life aiming for a certain number and then you get it in a couple years, then you're like, well, fuck, well, you know what I mean? Like that it's the motivation is different, but then it's like if you have this lifestyle, it's like kind of aspirational, and then, you want to, Like I know some of the numbers, and it's like a $400,000 car is not a big deal, you know, which is crazy. But it's like if you do that well and you even exceed your own personal goals by like a crazy amount, then like you should enjoy that, because at some point you're just going to be sitting on all this money. And like, what do you do? What do you do with money? You spend them, like you spend it.
I don't think Jett has a set on money.
No, I don't think so.
Not at all.
I think he's just cruising.
But he did mention about the 72 wins. So it's more about the wins than really a number of money. Yeah. And I can definitely see him, try to win everything, but not to reach a number, and just to have a lot of fun.
A lot of fun on the way. Yeah. But you think about, I mean, McGrath was the biggest change in our sport. He was the guy. Yeah. He was the dude that took it to a whole new level. Yeah. We should almost be cheering for Jett.
No, I mean, just what you said about MC.
That's what he'll do.
That's what he's doing. Yeah. Already. Yeah. Already.
Like, I mean, we should want that, because MC changed the game. Yeah. He changed the game for you. Yeah. He changed the game for Villapoto. Yeah. He changed the game for Dun. Changed the game for everybody. So it's like, it's a
new generation, definitely.
And it's one guy that came along and made that change. And then that was in 93 to 2000. Yeah. And then it's like, so that was 24 years ago. So we've waited 20 years to have another guy come around that can potentially have the same impact on our sport.
As much.
And everyone's pissed.
As MC.
And everyone's pissed.
Yeah, but now with social media and all that, it's so easy. So easy to talk. But what you mentioned is, dude, Jett, myself right now, when I go out and ride, I think about Jett when I ride, dude. Yeah, dude. This is, this is super cool at the same time, but the guy is like 20 years old. I'm 34, and I've won Supercross racing, you know?
Yeah, you're really good.
Yeah, but that's how much he's done and how much he's doing on the motorcycle. Yeah. That is, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that.
Did you go to Loretta's?
That's how much he changed the sport, like you said, too.
Did you go to Loretta's this year?
No.
Fucking everyone looked like Jett Lawrence. Every break and bump, everyone was jumping it. Like it was just a whole Jett Lawrence effect was like fully there, you know. And I just think it's cool as well to have like a guy like you, right? Like, you're an amazing rider, like an amazing career, but you weren't coming into this thinking like, I'm going to make the sport better. I'm going to change the game. Like, you're just kind of trying to do your best that you can. Yeah. Obviously, you want to leave your mark on the sport. And to be fair, it's probably not the best comparison, because I think for French riders, like, you really did have like a huge impact on the sport. But I mean, Jett's coming in and going like, I want to make this whole thing bigger and this whole thing better.
Yeah. I wonder if that's fully from him or also the people around him.
I think it's a mix of both.
Yeah, I think so too.
But it's hard to...
It can't be fully from the people around him, for sure. No. He has also an idea of it.
Yeah. But to be the guy that's willing to do that, that's also a lot of pressure. Like, a lot of pressure.
Yeah, and that's also... I mean... it's already tough to like do all the training and all the racing, and you have to deal with so much. And on top of that, just thinking about, I want to make the sport better, and probably bringing ideas like what they do with the fans and all that. I have a lot of respect.
Yeah. And so if you look into the 250 class and into the future, like, do you see anyone that you think can have that same impact?
Well, obviously Deegan, but in a different way.
Yeah.
Different way.
What do you see in his riding in that same vein?
It's a lot different than Jett. Yeah. That's for sure. You can't compare Deegan and Lawrence. Period. But I have a lot of respect for Aiden. So young like that, and coming in and wanted to win and not be afraid of anything, really. He's been facing, a lot of adversity, so a lot of problems or whatever, and crashes and all that, and he's still pushing through it. To the last Supercross races in Birmingham, like in one day, you see everything what happened.
Dude, I actually missed that whole race. Obviously, I
heard things happen in practice.
Yeah,
with someone, NST or whatever, got into each other. Then the heat race, then the main off track. And then the last corner, in one day, dude.
You probably never had that much drama in your career.
No, no, for sure, no. But he's going to learn from that.
Yeah.
And we saw it the following weekend already.
Yeah.
In Indy, I think he stayed on 2 wheels. He didn't got into anybody, so he's
very
learning.
bland.
He's learning.
Very bland on the podium.
Yeah.
Didn't say nothing. Was just like, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah.
What was I going to say about the? I lost it. It was something about the whole deal. I think with his riding though, like you remember the jump that he did at Ironman. You know, like he was the one that did that send, and then you see the scrub that he was doing after it. Like there is some flashes in there of like just how talented. Like I think he has. Daytona when he just 360s the bike. Like I think he has.
And Indy when he did the nose wheelie at the end of the whoops and almost hit Tom Vialle.
Yeah. So I think he does have a really crazy, like almost prodigy level of bike skill, I think. Because he has so much, so much bike time.
Well, look at the kid. I mean, he grew up riding supercross or mini bikes or maybe
BMX,
bicycles.
Yeah. They did everything.
Foam pit, skate park, all the stuff. So you create skills doing all that. Doing a backflip at 10 on a 65.
A legit backflip too. Yeah.
So that for sure would teach you how to ride a bike for sure. That what helps him right now. Yeah,
so I mean I think it's like he's not doing it like Jett and he doesn't look like Jett, but there is I think there is some stuff that Jett has in there. You know what I mean? Like in terms of the what you described, like I think he's got it in his own way. It just Jett makes everything look so easy and effortless and precise, and I think Deegs makes it look a little bit more like chaotic. But I wonder. I
don't know why.
I think it's personality too.
Yeah, you're right.
You know, like Jett's the most cruisy, laughed, funny. You know, like just the most unserious guy ever. And then I think you've got Deegs who like gets up every morning, looks at his goals, you know, like he listens to David Goggins.
Their families are so different too.
Yeah.
I mean, Brian Deegan.
The general.
Come on. That's the dad.
Yeah.
So for sure the kid is going to be different, I would say.
Yeah.
But you mentioned that jump Ironman, that triple he did on the finish line. That was crazy. But you know what? We thought about it for years.
Really?
Of course, dude.
All you guys.
I mean, myself, for sure. We probably talk about it with other riders, but 100% we thought about it almost every year. Like, can you imagine if you never let off? You can triple that thing. And the kid, how old is he?
So he would have been 17 then,
Maybe 17 last year, and he does it.
On a 250
On a 250. Every single lap. Even if it was a guy in front of him or even lappers, he would still do it. And I remember I was there for Tom Vialle, obviously, and they were battling together. And I was looking, I was pretty far, but I could see through the trees, you know, and you could see that motorcycle like over the trees. It was someone next to me. I don't know who it was, a coach or whatever. I'm like, dude, it's 2 laps to go or like 1 lap to go and he's still doing it. And there's nothing to gain.
Yeah.
But it's fun for him and the crowd was cheering. So, dude, I have respect for that.
And the scrub that he was doing after it, like there's some sick photos. I think Garth Milan got like just an absolute, just
it is
tucked in, and
it is the perfect jump and the perfect dirt to do that because it built up like big ruts.
Big rut.
I mean ruts, but like, you know, like I don't know how you say that.
Like
dirt.
tacky,
but loamy too, you know, like not fully like indie tacky dirt, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you can kind of like push it through it and it would like, kind of like the dirt would kind of move, you know, it's not that tacky where it don't move. So he was able to hit that and then float us. So it was
But the extra
beautiful
speed that he has from doing the triple.
And that Yamaha revving.
Oh,
The sound of it, that was sick. That triple and the scrub right after that, it was just perfect.
so that's what I mean. Like, you see, he's the only one that's ever done it. You know, so there's something there.
I wonder if
Next year, this year.
coming up, I wonder if a 450 would send it. The thing on the 450 is usually when there's a jump to try, you know, on the 450, if you go wide open, it could go wrong because you can over jump it.
On a 250, you just have to go wide open.
Well, it looked like Deegan was giving everything he had and he would land good. But on 450, you can over jump that.
And over jumping that would be terrible.
Yeah, because the dirt is soft too. So, or they might get rid of it. They'll be sad though.
That would be sad.
Yeah.
I think.
I'm kind of glad I'm not racing though, so I don't have to do it.
Were there any like big things that you did back in the day where like someone just did it and you were like, fuck, you had to do it?
For some reason, there is times where there would be a quad on the Supercross track, maybe around 16, 17. Maybe that was the beginning of my career on 450, but I would hate it. I would hate it because that KTM was powerful and I was so scared of over jumping a quad. And that's usually the case. So I remember a race, maybe St. Louis or whatever, I was losing time. Shit. Because I was not doing that quad. But last year or 2 years ago, I was actually hitting like some good jumps. So I don't know. Maybe the fact that we did more like technique work with DV and different rhythm and stuff, you get more like used to it of doing other things. And I felt pretty comfortable. So, but yeah, quads on 450s are not easy because you have to, how do you say when you, like in between, like
yeah,
I don't know, I don't have the word.
So like you have to like modulate, like to really make sure that you're landing in the right spot as opposed to you. I know what you're trying to say. Like you just can't send it. Like I feel like on a 250, you just
wide open.
Like it just doesn't matter.
Question.
You just gotta go as far as you can.
Yeah, like 450, you have to be like in between almost.
Yeah. What was your favorite bike that you had with KTM? What was the best year for you?
Looking back at some of the videos, 17 was pretty good.
Yeah.
17, 18, 19.
Okay.
Then we had the new bike, but the second year was better. But yeah, like in general, 17 was pretty good. 17, 18.
What made a good bike for you?
Balance. I would say balance is important, and suspensions.
So balance in terms of like, how do you define balance? Like in terms of it's not diving and braking,
exactly.
and it's not squatting a bunch on acceleration. It just stays fairly level. You get good traction. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Where your back doesn't do this and that, and we had issue with KTM with that.
Yeah.
And it's and then you have a brand new bike, so you have to adapt new things and. Yeah, I can see they're doing progress right now, but KTM have been obviously really good at innovating and making better bikes after every 2 or 3 years. I mean, it's pretty crazy. And I also push other brands to do that.
Oh, for sure.
Dude, KTM, I remember having an electric start on my bike in 2011. Dude, how crazy is that? 2011. There's brands, they don't have it still yet in 24.
Yeah.
Anyway, but that electric start and then fuel injected.
I remember when the hydraulic clutch came out.
Yeah, that's right. That too.
Dude, in early 2000s, hydraulic clutch, and everyone was just like, "This is shit. This will never work."
Yeah.
You know. And then it's one thing I respect about KTM is that they definitely. I wonder how much Japanese manufacturers would have changed their bikes if there wasn't for KTM.
Yeah.
You know, because nothing changed forever. You know, like on the Yamahas, the Suzukis, the Kawis, and the Honda.
Yeah.
I mean, Honda would change a lot of things, and I think Yamaha did as well. But they were just such slow moving, big companies, and I mean, bikes have looked very similar for the longest time. You know.
Yeah, and look at KTM making a factory edition. I think they were the first one to do that.
Yeah.
And now other brands that they do it in some ways.
Yeah.
I mean, they definitely pushing the competition.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that it's pretty epic to have a company that's like just that committed. I think that it probably bites them sometimes though, because, you know, like I think last year's frame, obviously a lot of people are not, you know, didn't gel with that change, because it's just hard to be a company that's so known for innovation. And then you get, so like the generation before this bike, that is such a good chassis. That's such a great frame. And it's won a lot of championships, but it's like, what, do you just stay there? Do you just, when you're the company that's like so known for...
They went pretty big
on
that new bike.
Yeah.
Obviously, yeah, you have to learn from that, you know, and never always work out. So on the racing side, yeah, we did have some struggle, but I believe on the production side and just going to the dealer and buying a bike, it was amazing.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah. And that's what I say right now. Like, I have like stock bikes. I ride with stock bikes now, and I'm fine. I go to Glen Helen, I go down the hill, I'm fine.
Yeah.
And that blows my mind.
Yeah.
And that's what I tell KTM now, the R&D guys or whatever. I said, dude, I remember back in 2011 or 12, we did like a Christmas KTM ride day or whatever. It was amazing. It was everybody. They brought a bunch of bikes at Pala, and I was like, I can't ride that thing. It was like rutted and bumpy and stuff, and the forks, it was kind of scary. Now I take a full out of the box bike and I'm fine. I enjoy riding. So that's how good they progressed on the
production
side.
It honestly is crazy, eh? Like I got a 24 350. That's my favorite KTM.
Yeah, I love the 350. Yeah,
dude,
especially the new one.
Oh, it is so insane.
That new one.
Yeah,
better.
So you like this one over the last one?
Yes, I think I think 23 was already a newer one.
Yes,
new generation.
Yeah.
And that's awesome.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. Like I changed the forks because I have like Showa sent me full like A kit for the KTM.
Yeah.
So I just think it's sick.
Yeah.
But so I have them. I got some 23mm offset triple clamps on there. I got the FCP engine mounts, a pipe and foot pegs. I got like the back and down foot pegs. That's it.
Yeah.
That bike.
And the shocks, full stock.
The shock is stock. Oh, I have a linkage, the REP linkage.
Okay. And the setting in the shock?
Stock.
Okay.
And I fucking love it. Like it is
awesome.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I just think
the engine is unreal.
It's just ridiculous. And you know, pipe, no pipe. Like I mean, I just got a pipe because it looks cool, but
of course,
it's like that bike there. I just will ride and ride. Stock bars, stock grips. Like just it is ridiculous how good that motorcycle is. And I changed the forks just because I've got them. But like even the stock forks these days are like, I think 23 they got a lot better, the air fork, and I think they probably made them a little bit better again this year. But yeah, just like
they do a lot of work. Yeah,
it's crazy how good just a stock motorcycle is these days.
And that's what I say. I mean, when you can go to a rough track and you're fun, you can ride. I mean, it's good.
Yeah, and all that has come through just so much racing and development.
Yeah. They put a lot of effort for sure. We have a good R&D group at KTM, so and I'm actually going to do some work with them this year, so looking forward to it. Yeah.
Did you enjoy the testing process when you were riding?
Not really. I never really been great at it. And I think the problem is obviously you want to make your bike better, but at the same time you want to do your motos and stuff. So you have to make sure you prepare for that and make sure you have the good days of testing, you know. And on the good track and on the rough track. Sometimes, you know, you can get caught up on a smoother track and you're like, oh, this thing's sick, you know.
Yeah, the bike feels great.
Yeah, and then you go racing and it's not as good. So you have to be careful on that. The thing is, when I especially move up to the 450, you know, Dungey was there for already many years. So I was kind of like based off of him, you know. I was like, oh yeah, we tweaked a little bit his stuff for me, but I was not like too picky, honestly.
Did you ride similar to him, do you think?
No, and I was always lighter to him, so we had to adjust that a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me it was hard. I remember growing up, reading magazines or whatever, and the top riders, they're like, "Yeah, I know exactly what I need, suspension wise," and I'm like, "Damn, that's sick,
That must be nice.
Yeah, and to this day, I mean, I can't really say, oh, I need the forks to be like this or the shock like this, like, let me ride it and I feel it and I tell you, but before that, there's no way I'll tell you, oh, I want this, I want that,
Are you good with the feeling though? Like you can give the feedback and...
Yeah, my thing is, where I was pretty good at is, I was trying not to give obviously false information, or if I don't know, I don't know. Yeah. And that's where also Frankie was great. He said, dude, like, if you don't know, it's okay. Or if you didn't feel a change or a difference, it's okay. Maybe some riders, they maybe trying too much, or they want to be like, hey, I felt that, or they're not sure. Like me, I was like, no, dude, I don't feel anything, or I don't know. So, okay, let's move on or try something else.
That's actually huge.
Yeah.
A lot of people will just bullshit, basically, you know.
I think I've heard stories, I don't know from who it was, but they'd be like, okay, we did that change or whatever, like go try it and come back. It's like, oh, dude, it was so much better, or no, it was worse. And they're like, we didn't touch anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's something we need to do, to really understand the rider, or that's funny.
Yeah, you'd always be scared to get caught out like that.
Can you imagine a suspension guy, like, don't touch anything, the rider comes back and he's all pumped, and the guy will be like, yeah, see, that was good, huh? Leave it like that.
Dude, I love that.
Yeah.
But
I think, sorry.
Oh, no, you go, yeah.
But to keep talking about suspension, I think I was also always with Dungey, and Dungey would always try to make it better. And I think that affected me a lot in a way, or like, especially at the races, man, we always try to make it better. And it was probably not as bad as I thought, the suspensions or whatever. But it was so natural to be like, okay, what can we change to make it better? I'm pretty sure there's races where it'll be like, don't touch it and it'll be fine,
Yeah.
And looking back at it, I wish I've done that.
Yeah.
But I think I was so used to be with Ryan, where Ryan was like, maybe tweak here, tweak there, like one click.
Yeah.
Like you do one click on my fork, I don't even know. I don't feel it.
Yeah, but it's like the biggest deal on race day.
Yeah, but I think that didn't help me.
Yeah. I mean, there'd definitely be times where I was around KTM. Like I was never in that truck, but we were around a lot, and you just see like Dunge would just be like going in all these directions, and the shot every time he come out of the track, the shock be out, and it's just frustrated, and you could like see the tension, and it's just like.
And then after that, I had Cooper Webb as a teammate.
And I
was the same.
Was he the same? It's like a cultural thing with like that generation, eh? Because I think that there's a element of like guys just wanted their bikes to be perfect. Like every time you heard Chad Reed on the...
It's a big problem.
Oh, man. Every time you heard Chad Reed on the problem, there was something about the bike. Oh, I just couldn't push the way. I couldn't... no disrespect to Chad.
And I see it right now too.
Yeah.
From the outside, dude, I see so much more. And where the problem or today is Jett Lawrence. So if you can't win and you're getting beat by Jett Lawrence, you're like, oh shit, we need to fix the bike.
Yeah.
And I believe sometimes, okay, I get it. You need the best bike possible. But also focus on yourself. You're really, and that's sometimes where I didn't do that. And sometimes you leave the bike the way it is, then you forget about what it does, or what it's doing.
Yeah.
And then you focused on what you have to execute.
Yeah.
And I think it's huge. But damn, it's hard mentally. and especially right now, because you have Jett Lawrence, and I see it with other riders right now. They want to change the bike so much because they can't keep up with him or other guys.
Man, I had this conversation with RV yesterday, right? So they put out that I don't know if you saw it, but they did a pretty good clip yesterday from their podcast with him and Ricky, where they were basically talking about like Chase and like the bike and going to KTM. And dude, it's like someone maybe just needs to say like, hey, you're actually not as good as Jett Lawrence right now. Sorry. Like, whether you had the best bike in the world, you're actually not as good as him.
You know what I say?
What?
Get rid of Jett Lawrence right now. And obviously, it makes life easier on many, many guys.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You get rid of Jett, it's life-changing.
Yeah, life's easy.
Like last year, Chase Sexton.
He would have won every moto.
Yep.
He would have had a perfect season.
And his bike would probably be
Been amazing.
awesome.
Yeah.
Because then maybe you ride at 90% or 95% instead of like 110%, and you make mistakes.
Yep.
That's when you make mistakes that's where you feel like, the bike is not helping me.
Yep.
But yeah, get rid of Jett Lawrence, and
the bike
it changed
will
a
feel
lot.
great.
Or it feels better.
But yeah, and I think that. But the thing is like, hey, sorry, Jett's here, and he's not going anywhere,
Yeah.
and this is your bike, and it's like, I think it would be such like a tough thing to say, but it's like maybe Chase's dad just needs to be like, hey man, we're just not as good as him right now. We're not as good as him. We need to figure out, obviously the bike. This is the bike that you signed to ride, and it's like, what can we do to get you better?
Yeah.
It's what you've got to beat this guy, and also too, like I think that there was a lot of times in Ricky Carmichael's career where James was way better than him. James was faster than him, but he beat him. He figured out how to beat him. It's not like, if you think about downhill mountain biking, right? It's you and it's your bike and it's at the top of the hill and then the track and you go down. So yeah, you've got to get your bike dialed. You can't do anything about the other races. No. It's you and your bike and the track.
But Supercross.
That's not Supercross.
No.
Supercross is you, your bike, the track, and 21 other guys. Yeah. And there's a way that you can position you and your bike on the track to beat the other people. And it's like, I think the mindset now needs to change from like, I got to get my bike perfect. My bike's not doing it. It's like, no, you need to figure out how to beat that guy.
Yeah.
And
obviously, yes, the bike is super important. And they're doing a lot of work right now at KTM. I mean, you could see, and like I mentioned earlier, I really believe that Chase can give a run at Jett, and they're doing a lot of work and they're getting better, and he's also a great rider. So, but man, mentally it must be really, really tough because the whole focus right now is the bike.
And that's my point. Yeah, is that it is mentally tough. Yeah. Because when you're, like you said, riding at 110% and you're trying, the bike's not going to feel good. So it's like, that's not the way to win right now. The way to win it's not in unlocking some mythical setting on the bike. Mm-hmm. It's about getting on the track and beating the guy that's in front of you on that day for 20 minutes. And it's like, Carmichael did it. Yeah. He figured out how to beat James over 30 minutes, 20 laps. So it's like that. And I think that it's like, I would want to get busy doing that instead of busy fucking with my bike and running KYB suspension and doing all the shit that, whether that, I don't know. But it's like, that seems like the energy could be spent in a different place for a better result, potentially. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I was like that too, trying to focus on the bike too much. And I remember the team was definitely sometimes not happy about me, but when I see what Cooper did or now Chase, what they're doing, I was probably one of the nicest rider at the end.
Yeah, you weren't that bad.
Yeah, but still, I was a little bit of a pain, but it wasn't bad.
It does affect the relationship with the team, though, right?
Dude, it's gnarly battles for sure. Because at the end of the day, yes, the factory, the brand, they want the best, but to a certain limit, obviously they can't. And then you have the rider who's, I was definitely not like Sexton, but yeah, there's others, they want to do other ways or whatever it takes, but gnarly right now for sure.
Yeah. Well, dude, like, how's Coop just went and bought a fucking bike and just like rocked up to the race with his own bike? Like, bro.
Yeah, dude, I was an angel, dude. Yeah, compared to these two.
Yeah, well, look at you. Look at the shirt you're still wearing.
Yeah, right? Dang.
That's so funny. And so talk about Tom a little bit. It's been pretty cool to see his change this year.
Yeah, but first of all, the whole where he comes from, what he's done, like 2 times world champion, just like me, and then moved to America right after that. It's almost like what I've done,
Yeah, yeah.
And I love seeing that, and that's why I want to help him. He won Daytona just like me. That his very first Supercross race.
That's uncanny.
Win. Yeah, and then I look back at the result. That was in 2013. So I won Daytona, my very first. Then we went to Toronto, I think, and I won.
Next weekend.
Yeah. So which he did in Birmingham. And then the following weekend we went to, I think it was Indy, and I won. So 3 in a row. I never won before, and I won 3 in a row. Well, he got second in Indy, but still, he made a lot of progress. We had 3 good weeks here in California. And I don't like. I feel like it's little things, but super important on the riding. I made a little bit of changes on his bars length.
You went
bar
a
mounts,
bit wider.
No,
Shorter. Okay.
I just felt like his bars were way too big for him.
Yeah.
So bar mounts position. He was used to something that I was not a big fan, so I changed that. And it was really hard to make those changes because he's not a guy that would make big changes. Every time you change something, he's like, oh, wow, it's different. So he gets a little worried or he doesn't want that. But I was able to do that. A couple things here and there on the track, and the finger on the clutch, I told him. And he's much better in the whoops. So little things like that really helped, and I'm really happy to see him more confident riding the Supercross.
Yeah. Because he was a savage in Europe. Like the championships he won, like he was a savage.
Yeah.
So it's like high expectations to come over here.
For sure. And it was for him a big change because not as big as me, because I was not that close of a team when I was in Europe. Because like we mentioned, I was in France. I had my mechanic bringing the bike to France, and I would practice, and we didn't do a lot of testing on all that. But he was based in Belgium, where the team is based, all the time with the team. So he had engineer at the track, his trainer, probably team manager often. So he was very used to like do the testing and used to like what they wanted on the bike and all that. So when he moved to America, it's a totally different team. You have to race Supercross. I don't know. One example is the triple clamps. Like whatever he would run in Europe, then here, no, you have to go different triple clamps because of Supercross. That would help you in the whoops or that. So you would get lost on that and not used to it. So there was so many little things like that you had to adjust. And then when you went to outdoors, it was the same thing. So finally got better at the end of outdoors, and he got a podium or 2, which was great.
How different are the bikes when you do come from Europe to like I feel like KTM's probably a brand that they're not like the factory bike that you're on probably isn't like that much different to the bike here. Am I wrong in saying that, or is it quite different?
It definitely looks the same, but it has some stuff that is different, yeah.
Okay.
Setting wise, here in the US, dude, we pretty much only ride Supercross, honestly, right? So we spend from November to August, Supercross, and then you do 3 months of outdoors. So at the end, they have their settings here for outdoors and stuff, but it didn't really match what Tom won it, so.
Well, I feel like Europeans just run way softer suspension outdoors.
Just because we're so used to Supercross here. So we translate to motocross. It's getting better, it's changing, but yeah, I was more like stiffer riding outdoors because we're so used to a Supercross bike.
Yeah.
And in Europe, all they ride is outdoors, so they have their stuff dialed in for sure.
Yeah, and so like Tom just couldn't run the suspension that he would run in Europe, essentially. Just like, this was a setting I used in Europe. Like, can I just run it here? Or it just doesn't.
Yeah, that's kind of like what he did, but later in the season,
okay.
he just thought maybe let's try what you guys have, and it was decent, but then he got better at the end because when he had different settings, and at the end he was like, I just want my bike that I had in Europe, and it was maybe not exactly like he had, but closer, and he felt comfortable because it's just being used to something. And he did 3 years over in Europe, 3 full years of almost the same bike.
Yeah, almost the same bike, yeah.
And then you have to move to America and you have to ride a Supercross bike. That's a lot different.
So how are you feeling about him for the championship?
To be honest, I didn't expect him to be in that position.
Really?
No way. Dude, before the season started, you look at all the names behind the gate. McAdoo, how many years he's done? McAdoo,
A lot.
at this level, like quite a bit.
Yeah.
So McAdoo, you have Ensti. Look how good he was last year. So you're like, he's gonna be good. Pierce Brown, he's done many years. He's gonna be good. I'm missing a few. You got Deegan. Who else? Like you already have 4. So to get on the podium, it's gonna be tough.
Yeah.
And then unfortunately, the first round he got pushed on the first turn and he crashed, so he lost a lot of points. But man, after that he got his very first podium on Supercross, and then he won Daytona. Daytona was the best track for him. I mean,
yeah,
that was not a Supercross track. It was so soft. Like, did you see the rhythm section? It was all almost like flat.
Yeah.
I told him, I said, don't try to like triple things or whatever. Like, try to stay low. There was a table in the middle where like people obviously would like hit the table and go like over a single,
yeah.
right? I said, just go table. It sounds ridiculous.
Yeah.
But he would make the end of the rhythm like way better.
Yeah.
And he did that. And that was awesome. He was consistent, and it's little things like this that I'm trying to help, and it worked out great. And then he goes to Birmingham. Birmingham, it rained. They didn't build whoops. Okay, there was no whoops, but it was a freaking Supercross track.
Yeah.
With ruts, with triples and all that, and he won. And he was so smooth. So it's all about him right now. He's not a rider that would send it or, just on the rear fender or whatever. He's really precise and technical. But what I see from last year, and he's pushing more in rhythms in Indy were rutted and stuff, and you could see like he would like pull on the bars to make sure he would clear the triples, like he would push more, and he's more confident. Did you see that on off?
Yeah.
That was pretty tough. So I believe last year he would have struggled through that.
Yeah, so
and
he's
be
like,
a little
tense,
hesitant, and
Yeah.
not go for it.
Yeah.
And this year, every single lap he would do it. And even in press day, he said, "Dude, did you see the on and off? That pretty tough, eh?" I said, "Yeah, it's tough, but you see how good you're doing it. Like, just do it. Like you're capable." So he's made a lot of progress, and I'm really trying to help him. What we talked about for Jett, just know where you can push and know where you have to be calm and smooth.
Yeah. No, it's cool, man. It's been really cool watching the progression and just seeing that guy. And for the American fans that don't watch as much MXGP, like when that dude's on, like he's on.
Yeah, people are probably like, "Who the hell is that?" Right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't follow MXGP and you like, here in America and just watching races, you're like, "Who is that?"
Yeah, and I think to win a world championship, especially in the 250 class. Like, it's just, there's so much talent. Like, it's just crazy.
A lot of races too.
Yeah, and so
now I think they have like 19 or 20 GPs now.
It's insane.
It's a very, very long series.
Yeah. So to be a guy that can win a title, win 2 titles, like, you've got to be a real.
Yeah, and what I like, it was funny too. Like, I remember when you won Daytona, you know, I'm like, because he passed Deegan, he passed Hammaker, he passed McAdoo, and then he won. Like, and then he says, oh yeah, when I got into the lead, I was like, oh, that's perfect, and I felt super comfortable, and I'm like, okay. He says, yeah, I'm so used to leading in GPs.
Yeah.
Dude, if I lead a race right now, I'll be like, you know, like
shitting.
yeah, like, oh, dude, like, I got to make sure I do everything perfect. But him, it was like, oh yeah, as soon as I got into the lead, I was like, okay, this is fine. That's is good.
Normal, yeah.
Yeah, this is normal. I'm like, sweet, good for you, dude. Let's lead more race, and you'll be killing it.
Yeah.
And that's what he did the next weekend. He started second, and I think he went. Oh yeah, he started second in Birmingham, and he was side by side with J-Mar.
Yeah.
And he hit a triple in the middle that he's never done all day long. And he told me that. He said, oh yeah, I felt good like off the start, and I said, oh, I have to hit that triple to get into the lead, and he did it. And he went around J-Mar, and he was leading, and he was great. So I guess he's so used to lead in GPs that he's comfortable leading.
That is wild to think.
Yeah, good for him though. It's a good thing to do.
Yeah. So what's next for you, or for the next 12 months, 2 years? Just going to ride as much as you can, be at the races training?
No, I'm actually I've been going to the track helping some riders. I've asked help from Fapani, a young kid, Jeremy Fapani. He raced for Orange Brigade.
Yeah.
And he was on his own, so he asked me to go to the track. I'm going to St. Louis for the Futures Races Supercross, trying to help those kids that are part of the Orange Brigade.
Yeah.
So, let's see what we can do and try kids, make sure they ride good.
Yeah, and then some testing stuff.
Yeah, R&D stuff, and I'll go to some, obviously keep following Tom to the races.
Yeah.
Maybe go to Florida sometimes at the training with him.
Yeah.
I feel like we can do so much more, obviously, at the practice track than at the races.
Than the race, yeah.
I think obviously at the races it's important to give some advice and make sure Tom is focused and do the right things on the track. But at the practice track we can do so much. We had a good time. It was right after Daytona actually. We went to a Supercross track and just able to do ask him to do different things on the track, and it makes it fun. And he enjoyed it. I remember it was like a double right before the whoops, and I was like, can you jump from the double into the first whoop? And he did it like right away, like first try, rap into the whoops, and he was able to jump the whoops. And he's like, dude, it's so much fun. I said, yes. That's what you need to do. Because if you skim the whoops every single day, every single week, every time, I mean, it gets tiring. Honestly, it gets tiring. It depends the rider. But a rider like him or like me, we need to do that. Yeah. Because then it puts a smile on your face and it feels good and it's fun.
Yeah. And any chance we'll see at any like fun races, Day in the Dirt at the end of the year maybe? You got any others that you want to do?
Not really. We'll see if they do again the Red Bull Street with them.
Yeah.
I might think about it if I do it again or not.
The king.
Yeah, but it's not the same. I'm not like riding every day.
I feel like
Supercross.
I feel like you'd still do all right.
Yeah, it'll be tough.
Well,
so that
anything
and then
like that?
Day in the Dirt, probably Glen Helen.
Yeah.
I'll try to do that. It's Thanksgiving weekend.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's hard to. I mean, it's easy to be like, oh, you dude, I want to do that race or that race, but if you don't train, don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it. I remember, when I stopped last year, people will be like, oh, let's do this Supercross, or people are like pushing me to do a Supercross on my 250. I'm like, hell no. No, I don't train. I don't do cardio. I don't ride as much as I want or enough to be good on the Supercross track. So leave me alone for that. But I still love riding and I want to ride.
Yeah. Oh, sick.
But racing is different world.
Yeah. Well, man, thanks so much for doing this.
Good
I've
time.
had a lot of fun. It's
Yeah,
been,
good time.
It's been cool hearing about.
There's definitely a lot to say.
Yeah, no, it's been awesome, dude.
Yeah.
And we'll do it again whenever you want. And hopefully we'll get out for a ride together at some point.
Yep. That I'm in for sure. I'm in for a fun ride and enjoy tracks. Definitely we go into summer though, so it'll be a little drier.
Yeah.
But this winter was a lot of fun.
It was insane.
Yeah.
Just so.
When it rains in California, it's awesome.
Yeah. And man, this was my first, like, growing up on the other side of the world, and the first time I lived here, I just didn't really ride much. I just, like, I was filming, and then I was bikes. So I was surfing, I was playing golf, I was doing everything but riding. And then when I left America, I was like, damn, I kind of like blew it, you know? Like, I go back to the tracks in Australia, they're just like not as good. And then I came here this time, was training for World Vets, was riding like 4 days a week, just fully got to live the American moto dream.
Wow.
And I was like packing up my bikes over the weekend, and I was like, damn, I'm going to miss riding in Southern California, because it's just been epic. Yeah. It's been so good. All the tracks have been awesome. Like, the weather's been, I mean, there's been a lot of rain, but like when the tracks have been good, god damn, they've been good.
Yeah, but when they're not good, they're really bad.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, dude, summer in California though, and I feel like, obviously we're losing a couple of tracks, right? I mean, here in California, it's pretty sad, but during outdoors, they know there will be a lot of pros here, you know, training for outdoors, so they prep the track pretty good, but when this is over, you know, sometimes they get really dry. But can't complain though. We have tracks in California and they're open, so let's enjoy it.
Well, thanks again, mate, and we'll do it again.
Sweet. Yep, all the best. See you next time.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you, brother. Let's crush one of these croissants now. Thank you so much, mate. That was awesome. 3 hours ago is pretty quick, huh?
No way.
Yeah, that was 3.
We're excited to announce the launch of our new membership site, gypsytales.com, packed with exclusive content and perks that you won't find anywhere else. This is your chance to become a part of the Gypsy Gang. And as a special bonus, if you sign up to an annual membership, you'll be entered into the draw to win our custom-built TC125. Gypsy Gang.